That's him, not me. That's him. It's all him. Yell at him.
Salutations and welcome to the Manabar Video Game Podcast. I'm your host, Andy Rhodes, and I'm joined here with Matt, the Secret Samarco.
What?
And Doing It Dan Party.
Drinking water. Yes, that's me.
That was the worst intro we've had
Yep,
yet.
and it's going to be our intro, and it's both of your faults.
God.
You for your snickering about secrets, and you for drinking water
Yep.
at the
Sorry for drinking water.
table. The not dinner table, though. We've got a great show today. We're going to talk about Call of Duty, the new Pokemon Direct, Apex Legends news. The last of the Sega mini games were announced, and we're going to talk a bit about the E3 schedule, and that's going to carry on to a conversation about maybe our favorite and least favorite moments of the past E3s that have come up. But first,
Cool.
what are you cats playing?
I am playing the same stuff I've been playing for the last couple weeks.
Is that Dauntless?
Did anything new come out this week? Because I feel like nothing
Trevor
came out.
Saves the Universe came out.
Okay.
That was
yeah.
about it. I have it on back order.
You know what actually came out? And I completely am going to get it at some point. Hollow Knight, the physical edition for the Switch.
Okay, so like a 10-year-old game.
Ouch. I mean...
It came out, a year ago?
Yeah, 10 is exaggerating. I guess. 3
The
years
actual
ago, maybe?
physical version.
I feel like it's been out for a while. But...
Like, you don't have to download it even. And it's like all the DLC combined and all that jazz.
Okay,
$30.
I still haven't played it.
I haven't. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like for the Switch. So, and I know you don't like to download or for the Switch because you need all the space you can get.
I kind of go.
I know
here
you're
and there.
eyeing me with this table. Sorry.
Yeah, I swear to God, if you hit that table one more time, and I have to try to find like some sort of magical Leopleurodon way to cut it out of the audio.
I'm very sorry.
No, I'm like neither here. Like
I've never played it, so I'm interested.
if I randomly see a deal on the Switch store, I'll download it. But yeah, I would prefer. Also, I like looking at how many cartridges I have, even as small as they are for the Switch. I like to have a collection of games. I just don't like to have a large collection of things collecting dust, which is why I kind of skewed a little bit towards not buying all physical, because a lot of them I'll get bored with or never play again. So what's the point of having it?
Plus, it could take you years to fill up that 32 gig hard drive you've got on that thing.
Yeah, that's another. That is one of the major reasons why I don't download games for the Switch. So a lot of the games I have downloaded, I've downloaded at least like 10 games for the Switch, and it's nowhere near filled up the space on it. But we'll see.
Well, also, I don't know if you have a lot of games that are demanding like an LA
No,
Noire
not
type.
the download ones. The download games I've had are all very small. Like Golf Story was very small. Human Fall Flat was very small. I
You don't
assume
know
Hollow
Jack.
Knight.
Yeah, it's pretty small.
You don't know
but-
Jack. Jackbox, the party pack. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, that
Matt, what are you
Jack-
playing?
Okay, so I'm playing Dauntless. That game's still good. It's finally at the point where if you want to play it, you can play it at any time, as opposed to waiting in a queue. That first week was kind of rough.
Yeah, I actually do want to jump in and start playing that. I keep
It did look good.
forgetting.
I kind of look into gameplay for the first time. I was like, that is a pretty cool,
Yeah,
like cell shading
It's a great.
stylus.
Here's a game that like I can play for a long period, but I don't have to focus all my time on it. You can just throw. Hey, I don't want to do anything too stressful. Just play a couple hours of that one night. It's a good time. So I've been playing a lot of little things like that. I've been playing Sonic Team Racing still, which again I don't have much more to say about that except that it's fun, but not amazing. I bought Picross Season 3, which came out
you
last
jerk!
week.
I haven't bought that yet. How is it?
It
has colors now.
Yes, it's weird because it's just Picross, but there's like a different shade of green now. It's like the whole thing's in a different shade now. But I don't know if to people that have never played that game, it's like a really fun puzzle game where you just have to. I don't even know how to describe it. There's like
It's
numbers.
a puzzle
It
game.
looks like Minesweeper with pictures.
Yes,
It's a puzzle game that involves filling in blocks depending on what the numbers are on the rows and columns to try to make pixel art.
yeah. It kind of sounds like a
And it never looks like what it should. Like
Yes.
you're finished doing this little picture and it's all black, and then it's like, what's it gonna be? And it's like a turnip or something random like that.
It kind of plays like Sudoku if you've ever played that, but like
Oh, a
much
lot like
better
it, yeah.
and much more interesting.
It's
and
so much
challenging.
fun. I have Picross 2 for the Switch. I got Matt into it. I got my girlfriend into it.
Yeah, they've had like I think they've been coming out like once a year for the last 3 years now, like since the Switch came out, which has been nice. So it's like probably $9-10 or something like that. So it's definitely fun. I've also been playing. There was Final Fantasy X. I've still been playing Final Fantasy X. I'm like 20
I saw you playing that.
yeah, I'm like maybe 20 hours into it. That
What
game.
part are you at?
That game holds up. I'm in like ice caverns.
Wait, did you beat it?
I've beaten it before, yeah.
You beat it. Oh,
But like I don't. There's so many weird names and like fantasy. It's all in.
Are you
like,
past
it's
the
in
Blitz ball?
future. Yes,
you
I'm
passed the
way
Blitz
past the
ball.
Blitz.
Okay. Did you win the cup?
I did.
You did. Very
Yeah.
nice. That's actually
You
very
just
hard
gotta,
to do.
You got to use the eject shot and then like
Yes.
just defend the rest of the time and then. Actually, I got a couple goals with Walker at the end, which was kind of surprising.
Wow.
He's pretty good in the like final period of play.
Oh yeah. Yep. Right.
Because you level them up like halfway through the game and they get stronger.
I haven't played through it yet.
It's
Yeah.
good. It's
Well,
a
it's
math
fun.
game.
Yeah,
I have it.
like-
I have the remastered version.
It makes
You would
me,
love Blitzball. It's all math.
Yeah, so I'm playing the remastered for the first
all
time
math.
actually, and it does look better. It's like hard to tell because when you think of games that you used to play, you're like, oh, that game must look exactly like this, but then you actually go back and compare it, and it looks like
Yeah,
garbage.
T just looks very, very different just from the upgrade.
That's fine.
Well, also not to mention you plug in your PS2 and everything's like wicked blurry.
Yeah, and,
regardless
like,
of what you're playing.
even the menus and such look a lot cleaner. And it like I was going back to the Sphere Grid. I don't know if you've seen that, Andy, but it's like this
yeah,
really
I have
fun-
played the game.
Okay.
I just haven't gotten.
Yeah, it's a
very
it's a
far
really
in it.
fun way to level up your character, and they kind of played with that in 12. They did a similar kind of grid, but it wasn't exactly like that. It was like more like abilities and
hated
stuff.
that thing.
Yeah, I liked the one in 10 a
Oh,
lot
it's so
more.
annoying because it's like I got a weapon. Oh God, I can't equip it unless I find the license.
Yeah, it
and I was like,
a little
oh, this is so dumb.
too busy. But I kind of wish
Yeah.
they would go back to the.
I do like the
10
sphere grid. The
for-
sphere grid is very cool.
Because you know when you level up in most games, like one level doesn't do that much, but when you level up in Final Fantasy X, you'll get like you won't get a bunch of stats at once, but you'll get like 200 health. And if you have 800 health, that's like a lot of health that you're getting.
Yes,
Or you'll
yes.
get like 4 attack, which is a lot of attack because that's the only thing you're getting that level. So you see like these big increments in like specific categories at a time, which is really cool.
Plus, it's really fun. Like when you level up like 6 times, and like you try
Yeah,
and play
yeah.
the mini game of like
How to
don't
be
look in
efficient.
your menu, just wait, just keep going, and then eventually you have like 6 level ups, and you're like, oh my God, I get to move all the spheres and put them all in, and then look at how my character has like boosted in
Yeah.
the past like 20 minutes.
And it reminded me of the one thing that really disappointed me when I played this game was how linear it is. Like it doesn't feel like a Final Fantasy game in many. It doesn't feel like an RPG in many respects because it's like you kind of have one path that you can go, and there's never really worlds to explore, like towns to explore. The areas you go to are pretty small, and it's basically like here's a red part on your map that you have to get to this like blinking light, and you just go from one screen to the next screen like in a line basically, which is kind of a bummer. I wish that's kind of how I felt about like the Final Fantasy 13 too, and then it opened up again.
13
with 15,
was like
but
linear for 40 hours until
Yeah,
it opened up
exactly.
into the world.
The tutorial, yeah, pretty much.
12 was a little more open, but still, yeah.
Yeah, I'm with Dan though. I only need one license in a video game to kill.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I've got nothing more to say now.
Yeah.
I have killed
think.
every conversation that was
Yeah.
going to happen around that game. What are you playing, Dan?
I am playing Dragon's Dogma. Actually, I swapped. I had it on the Switch, but then I realized looking at the Switch was hurting my neck, so I was like, screw it. I have it on PlayStation 4, so I'm just going to play it on PlayStation 4.
You can put it in the dock.
I know, my
and-
neck's been hurting me, so I was just like, you know what? I'll just...
From looking down at the Switch.
Yeah, but even though I own it for PlayStation 4, and if I'm just going to play something, I have, like I said, it looks better on PlayStation, it plays better on PlayStation. So anyway, I've been playing that game, and I have been enjoying it, but the only problem and it's more of a personal thing rather than an issue with the game, is most RPGs you pick when you make a character, you create them, and then you pick a class. So mage, ranger, warrior, whatever, and then that's it. That's what you pick. That's what your class is. That's all you can do for the whole game. This one, halfway through or I shouldn't say halfway through the game, like 10 hours into the game, it allows you to switch classes, and they also have like mixed classes.
Does that reset progression on the class though?
So your level up, so your health, your stamina, your defensive skills, like those type of things,
Is there a skill tree for each class though?
So there's what they call it as a vocation, and vocation your vocation has a level. So if you're like a mage or something and you play and kill like 30 enemies, you'll level up to vocation 2, and that allows access to different skills. And as long as you have they call it discipline points. As long as you have the discipline points, you can purchase that skill. But it's kind of fun to bounce around and say, I tried the mage, but it's just not really for me because it just it auto locks on to your enemy. And I feel like that's kind of That's kind of boring. Not only that, when you activate it, your character walks extremely slow, so it makes you extremely vulnerable to, melee attacks and everything. But the cool thing too is it allows you to mix, but it mixes all the classes. So at one point you can be a mystical knight, so you have a shield that allows you to summon, like spells and stuff like that. But the sword, it, kind of gets the hack and slash part of it. So you can do that, or you can have a magical bow and then also a staff. So you can be, if you want to kind of do both. Then there's the pure, if you want to be a two-handed sword person, that's like even more of a warrior than the regular, it's like another class that's like sword and shield. This one's just two-handed, so it's like giant hammers, giant swords, things like that. But it's a nice mix, and every now and then when the game kind of gets boring, like I'm sick and tired of playing as the mage, I'm going to jump to a mystical knight. So... it's neat, and
it's better than remaking an entire character
Yeah.
and trying to do a new class. I remember that's what I would have to do in WoW every time I wanted to like experience a new class. It's like, oh, do I really want to start out from level 1 and redo all this stuff? It's so much work.
And once you buy that class, because it costs points, once you buy that class, you can switch between them for free. You don't have to. You can't do it on the fly. You have to go to like the town, like hotel, and then you just like
All right, doctor.
switch.
I've never played this game. Is this kind of like, I was just looking at some screenshots. Is that kind of like, it kind of gives off a sense of Skyrim? Is it something like that? Or is it?
Yeah,
am I off
That's what it
base?
looked like when I saw him playing it
It
too.
feels like it plays a lot like a Monster Hunter, but but don't let that turn you off. It's not as confusing.
Yeah.
It's very much like a Monster Hunter meets more on the Skyrim side. It's very hack and slashy. It's very platformy because like you can jump near a platform, and if his hands are close to like the edge, he'll automatically grab it and climb up. They also have it based on like, so if you have like 100 pounds of stuff on you, your character is going to walk extremely slow. But the big and neat thing part of it is the pawns. That's where you create your own pawn, and then once you create him, people can download him and use him in their game, and then they rate him depending on how he does. I guess the way you play affects how the pawn reacts. So I guess if you're very like picking up everything, your pawn is going to do the same thing. It's going to go in their game and it's going to pick up stuff a lot. And then people can rate you like on the appearance of it, which is always subjective, but also like how do they do in battle, and then they can leave a little note like your guy needs work or your guy was hilarious, and it's just, and when you get it back, and they can also give you like an item. So you'll get them back with like 10 items, and it's neat.
really cool.
It's a neat thing. So if like you were to play it, you could use my pawn, but my pawn is the same level as my main character. So if you wanted to request a pawn that's much higher, obviously that's going to make the game easier, and it requires rift crystals, which you find throughout the game.
You're throwing a lot of terminology
Sorry,
at me
yeah.
right now.
Basically, it's a type of
Something
currency.
magic happens.
You
You,
throw it-
get a
Sounds
little
great.
helper.
Exactly.
Sounds fun.
It's a currency you find. It's like a
Rifts
random drop in
the
a game.
system.
But it's neat. It is neat.
Glitch in the Matrix.
It is neat.
Anything else you playing?
I've been mainly playing that, and I've kind of fell into a lull because I started a bunch of games, and then I just realized that they're just not doing it for me. Like Sniper Elite 3, I just realized like the whole game is. Sniping. But
You
I just
snipe in Sniper
I
Elite 3?
know, what a shock. No, it's
Kind of
just
obvious. It's the name of the title, guys.
the mission structure.
I'm just so stupid.
The mission structure just feels too much the same each by level.
Rinse and repeat.
Yeah, it's too much of that. It's neat, but it's just I died, and then it was like I have to do all this over again. I'm just not in the mood. Whereas a game like
So you're just like waiting around for like the next big thing to come out.
I did the same thing with Just Cause 4. I was like, oh, let me
Just Cause.
blow stuff up, and I don't know. I'm playing the game, and
That's why I use Apex as like a palate cleanser in between games. It's good just like because I'll get bored. I'll play a game sometimes for anywhere between 30 minutes and 2 hours, and I need, unless it's a game that I'm really really into, I need some differentiation. So I'll just throw like a few matches in every day, maybe every other day or something like that. But
if they did a team deathmatch, maybe I'd come back. But
I'm fine with the battle royale. I mean, we'll see. Hopefully they add some new game modes
Yeah, we'll
eventually.
find out on
But
Saturday.
I
Maybe
thought
they'll
they
do
were
a
supposed to
find
do
out on
a
Saturday.
what is it like a squad of 2 and squad of 3 and it's a squad of 3 is what it is.
we'll
Solo.
talk
and
about
then-
Apex more later. We have that on the news
Okay.
topics today. But I this week have played not one but 2 Sonic games this week. That's more Sonic than I've played in a very long time, and each one of them was the polar opposite of experiences. So one was Sonic Team Racing, which I got off of GameFly, and within 1 or 2 days of playing it, I already sent it back. It felt like a solid racing game with solid mechanics that they simply threw Sonic characters into. It did not feel like a
Cube.
Sonic. Oh my god!
Cube.
So you have these weapons. So here's the thing: burst missile.
What does it just explain?
So
It's like a lot of games that explain. Spinning cane.
It was a wasted opportunity for a Sonic game because none of the level, kind of like how Matt said last week, none of the levels, weapons, or anything going on had anything to do with Sonic. They were barely Sonic-esque.
How do you miss that Emerald Zone and like the
Yeah,
city and the
they didn't even
water.
have like they could have easily just made levels pulled out of other Sonic games.
Yeah, it was just kind of
and-
generic, like.
Yeah,
They could have
very
even done
generic.
that 3D. You know that tube where you have to like run side to side. Yeah, like that was neat. And even if they did a whole level like a retro level like that, I think that would have been
no,
really cool.
and not only that, all right. So here's the thing: the whole game felt very soulless because of this. The weapons were all like these weird shapes with eyeballs on them, like you know
That
how
sounds
in
very Sonic.
Yeah, I still don't know what most of them do.
Mario Kart, you would pop the fake item block behind you, and this one is just this giant cube with an eyeball, and this guy says like cube when you drop it.
He says it so excitedly. It's my favorite weapon, even though it's useless.
That would be a great text message.
I'm not going to be surprised if this game, kind of like how Resident Evil 7 was not really a Resident Evil game throughout development.
They just added it on.
I'm not going to be surprised if this was a completely different card game and they realized it wasn't going to sell, so they popped Sonic characters into it. But
I thought they've been making a Team Sonic game for a while. Wasn't there like a PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360?
well, there was one
Yeah.
back on the
I mean, there were-
GameCube. Sonic Heroes for the GameCube was kind of a team-based.
And then there was like Sonic
Game.
Team Battle. I just didn't like it because it was really weird.
Yeah, but like it was fun in spurts, but it definitely wasn't enough to keep me going, especially when the story mode had me repeating courses.
Yeah, the story mode seems.
Oh my
lame
God.
after. It's like the same
There's a
thing
story
over.
mode
The
and a Mario
story
Kart game?
mode. Well, it's a
I mean,
Sonic.
it's Sonic.
Well, yeah, the story was hilarious. So this guy, this Donpa, his name is, he looks like a weird furry thing. So he goes to all of the Sonic characters and he's like, I'm pulling you into this race. And he like pulls them off, like teleports them off world to go race on like different planets. And they're instantly like, okay, let's do this. And it's not until after they do their first race that they're like, something seems fishy about this guy who teleported us onto different planets and is forcing us to race for no reason. He seems to have a lot of power. And it's just like a lot of the campaign was just like there's cutscenes in between the races. That's the story. It's just them asking really dumb questions that are very obvious. Like, I wonder if this guy's evil.
I get
Well, I
concerned
mean,
every time Big was on the screen.
Oh my God. Yeah, I think he was like one of those, like, you know how there's that whole theory that like Jar Jar Binks is secretly a Sith.
Yeah.
I think there was this big furry guy named Furry who just go like, I really like this guy. That was like his normal line and attitude. I'm like, oh, is he like working for the
Yeah,
bad
he like,
guy?
reminded me of Hodor. I was like, I kind of felt like
game
there's
sound-
someone's taking advantage of someone here.
That kind
This
of
is
sounds
crossing
like
a line.
oh my God, that kind of sounds like Mega Race. Have either of you played that game?
No.
That was at some point. Watch a video of a YouTube clip of Mega Race. It was kind of like Bill and I, the Science Guy. So you do a race where you have like a car with like rockets and stuff, and you're basically like blowing up other cars while
I don't
trying
remember
to.
that on an episode.
It was
of
on a
Bill Nye the
PC.
Science
No.
Guy.
either.
No. But what happens is in between the races would be a cutscene. It would go to like a guy sit like kind of like Bill and I, the Science Guy, where he'd be at a table and he would just like talk like a weirdo, just some wacky guy. And he would just be like, "We're gonna try this now," and then they would just cut to the next race.
That
And
does sound like Bill Nye. Are you sure it wasn't actually
it was
Bill
not
Nye?
Bill and I believe me. When you have a chance, just watch it. It's really funny.
Well, alternately, the other Sonic game I've been playing because it was free on PlayStation Plus this month
Mania
was
Plus.
Sonic Mania.
Plus,
which-
there's like two versions.
I don't know. It was
Plus, there's
Sonic
the
Mania.
F1.
That's the game. And it is the polar opposite. The other game seems like a game made by people who had no idea what Sonic the Hedgehog was until like the last 5 seconds, where this game was made by Sonic fans for Sonic fans, and it is just so unbelievably charming.
Wait, I'm confused. I thought this was the compilation.
No, you're thinking of what was that
Mega
one?
Collection?
Oh,
Yeah, you're thinking of the Mega
I'll have to
Collection.
download this.
No,
then. I
this
thought
is
it was
Sonic.
something
This
else.
is a game that came out
was
last
fantastic.
year.
Yeah.
It came out on.
I think it came
think
out
it-
on everything.
I think
Switch
it was
and
everything.
PS4, Xbox.
I was originally going to get it for the Switch. I never got around to it. That's why I was glad that it came out for PS Plus this month. It starts out with this like 1 minute intro that's all hand drawn 2D animation. It's just I am a sucker for 2D animation, so when I see that, it's just breathtaking. It harks back to the animation style of Sonic CD, which is a very not well known Sonic game that came out like in the because Sega CD was had so few games to begin with, and then it's basically the old Sonic game. It's kind of like how Octopath Traveler took like that 16-bit style and made it more updated. So they're using straight up sprites from that old game, but it still looks new and refreshing and updated.
So it's not like Mega Man 11's kind of
No,
where
no,
it's
no,
still like
no.
a side scroller, but it just has updated graphics. It's not the same type of thing.
Yeah.
It literally feels like you're playing Sonic 2,
That's pretty cool.
but at the same time, all the animations and everything are much updated. And they updated all the music. And like you start out in Green Hill Zone, but then it soon moves into like other levels, and you go to like Chemical Plant level 1, but it soon evolves into much more. Like they added way more to it. It's like
Did you get to the Mean Bean Machine boss? I love that guy.
Not yet, but I'm excited to. Well, so here's the thing. I'm enjoying it. I didn't have a Sega growing up. I didn't have a Sonic growing up. I didn't play
You're
a lot of
about
the
to. No.
old Sonic games until the Sonic Mega Collection came out. So I'm loving the game, but I'm inherently bad at Sonic games. Just in general, I'm bad at them. I don't play them very well. I was always a Mario kid growing up. That's what I'm used to. Sonic, I just
Gotta go fast.
die a lot. I die a lot in those games. I was never very good at them.
Yeah, this one is harder than even the old Sega ones.
Yeah,
I felt like.
I was really good at Sonic Battle 2 Adventure, the one with Shadow. That was like the first Sonic game that I really loved. Well, in Spinball, I love Spinball.
Yeah, it was a good one too.
But
yeah.
no, so that's really fun. And aside from like a little Minish Cap, well, a lot of Minish Cap. I'm almost done with Minish Cap. I've almost beaten the game. But aside from that, it was really just these two Sonic games that I was playing. For most of the past week, but I'm really looking forward to playing more of Sonic Mania.
Yeah, I played it when it came out. I might re-download it and try it again because it is a fantastic game.
Yeah, it's really fun. I really hope that they have that team make more because
Yeah.
they understand Sonic,
I could go for another one of those.
which is not something that Sega has understood for quite a long time. He did not transition into 3D very well. And there was just botched opportunity. I never played the one. Remember, there was the one where it took like the new style of Sonic and combined it with Sonic Generations, where they combined
Yeah.
like the old Sonic and the new Sonic together. Was that
really
any
tried
good?
to tap that nostalgia vein for a while. That one was
Oh yeah,
because
because they made Sonic 4 as
They
well.
made Sonic 4, which is
That's
also
right.
like it just felt like this bootleg. Like he felt heavier than he did in all the other games,
And it was like
just didn't feel
episodic
right.
for some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, but well, anyways, that's what we've been playing. And one more thing before we move into the news topics. A fan of the show wrote in suggesting a game for Matt.
Oh Jesus.
Because a couple episodes ago we were talking about Resident Evil and Call of Duty, and you mentioned that you wish that there was maybe more of an open world style Resident Evil game or something like that, and someone recommended Resident Evil Outbreak to you.
Outbreak. I don't think I played that one.
She said that she thinks from what you described it would really be up your alley.
Do you know
Dan
what
has
it's on?
something to say about that though.
No, I was gonna guess something else, but
Do you know what systems it's on?
yeah, it's PlayStation 2.
Yeah, PlayStation 2.
The only problem is I believe you need an online connection to even beat it now because I guess the AI is pretty bad. One of my friends is a huge Resident Evil Outbreak fan, Tony, and he was telling me something
Is that
about
the
it.
online co-op one?
Yeah, and I guess you can have AI characters, but he said they like
I think you
they
need a
burn through
special
your ammo.
hookup.
Oof.
Yeah, they burn through your
To
own
play
ammo,
on the
and
internet
I
on
guess that's
PlayStation.
how AI was back then.
I wonder if it's on Steam.
It could. I mean, I'm sure
They
there's,
could have
like,
ported it somewhere.
there could be modded versions or stuff like
it
that.
out.
But
I was unaware this was going to happen on the podcast. I'll have to look it up.
I don't want to promote piracy, but if you find out you cannot play it in any respect, that is also
I mean,
an
I
option.
have it for PlayStation 2 if you want to borrow it.
Well, no,
It's
like
just,
that
I,
sounds-
I
can
just,
you play it offline though?
You can play it offline. It's just like I said,
Oh, well, there
you
you go.
have an AI character, but it was meant to be played with other people.
Like a co-op.
Yeah, and
Oh,
it's
okay.
kind of
Well, now
like,
this fan has me wanting to play a game I can't play because they took the servers down. So thank you, fan.
well, you can play it, but again, it's kind of like basically having Sheva as a partner, and she just pisses through all your bullets.
That suggestion was sent in by Sarah from Washington, so you can thank her.
Thank you, Sarah.
Ouch. Or you could play Evil Within. Did you play Evil Within? And Evil Within.
yes.
Is that the
and I did
one
not like
with
it.
the
Evil
glasses
Within-
scene?
Yeah, that's Evil Within 1. Evil Within 2 is more open.
Because I feel like I played Evil Within the first one, and I just couldn't get past the first hour of it because it was confusing
It's
and
very
didn't-
slow,
wonky and
but
didn't
the
make
second
sense how
one
The
was-
characters
die.
are dumb.
They were. I completely agree.
This guy, you're dealing with like zombies or monsters or something, and you're with your brother, right?
No.
Friend? Best
He's like
friend?
he's
He's a
another
cop or
cop.
Oh, you don't even know him?
He's another cop.
Another cop, whatever. Oh, wow, that's a pretty horrible cop.
Hey, they're pretty
so
close.
He loses his glasses, and you just had to fight off like this monster zombie thing, and then he's like, oh, I dropped my glasses in the courtyard during that skirmish. Could you go get?
Oh,
with
that's
them?"
where the monster was.
And not because I can't see and get us out without my glasses. It was I'm just not me without my glasses. And like I was watching.
Well, you got to get the glasses then.
I was watching Dan play this game, and I'm like, this is such a piece of crap.
No. Okay. So
Story wise,
well,
or character wise.
no, he's also meant to make you uncomfortable and like weird. So anyway, the point is the second one was a lot better, and they kind of fix a lot of the stupid stuff in this game. Because a lot of screwed up stuff would happen, and your main protagonist would be like unaffected, and kind of like what it was in Silent Hill 2. It was a little weird where like, oh, I just saw someone, a mannequin getting, raped. I'm just gonna walk over here. Don't worry about it. He doesn't
What's
really
abnormal about that?
yeah. Anyway, that's normal Tuesday, right?
Speaking of things that weren't on the news topics, something did come up that I don't want to spend a lot of time on because I know I didn't really give you guys time to prepare for it, but I figured it was somewhat of an important topic that came out this past week. Was the World Health Organization tried to classify addictive gaming as an actual
Yeah, that's
disorder.
weird.
I thought they did this a while ago.
Well, I mean, they actually want to make an official thing come January of 2020.
But isn't
and
everything addicting? Like,
well, that's the
Ding,
thing.
ding.
like what? Like, okay, great. You make everything alcohol, like
Yeah, unless
TV,
it's like
anything.
chemically
Yeah.
affecting your brain.
and
It's
then
just
that's the
a blanket,
real-
Everything can be addicting.
Like, I don't necessarily disagree with anything they said about what they classify as addictive gaming, but yeah, like there's nothing about the games that's making you play the games. I mean, I suppose you could say the same thing with gambling, maybe? Nothing
Yeah.
is making you go and spend money on gambling, and that's an addiction. But like, are we just going to turn everything into addiction now?
Let's do it.
I mean-
there's sex addiction. I mean, for the celebrities apparently that have problems, like
Yeah,
Tiger
Tiger.
Woods or whatever.
Well, that's the thing. Like, all right, so I personally feel like I have an addictive personality, but I manage to not have it affect my everyday life, and I think they're trying to classify not everyday gamers like us with this, but the people who play games to the point where they're ignoring either their own health or the well-being of those around them, which I do agree is an issue, but I don't think it needs a specific classification.
Yeah, I'm trying to think because that's the point is when it starts affecting your relationships and your work and other things like that. But I mean, could you?
But
say
that could be anything.
Yeah,
could
that
you
could
say
be
about
anything. That could be
movies? Could you say
alcohol,
that about
movies, that
TV
could be-
shows. Could you say that about running?
Yeah,
I guess you could, but I mean, to be fair, it's probably a lot more prevalent amongst video games just because it's so easy to sink like an infinite amount of time into an MMO or
Yeah, but it's also such a
shooter or
low
something.
population of people that this would affect. Of gamers, this would only affect. Like I was reading, I cannot quote the article because I'm not good at writing things down, but I was reading that some people theorize that it's somewhere between like 0.5% of the percentage of people who play games.
Whoa.
yeah, it makes sense.
Wow.
I do remember
Which-
watching a funny like documentary like 10 years ago about a World of Warcraft addict that was like going to the bathroom in a bottle and like playing for like 14 hours a day. And
That's a
stuff.
problem.
It's like
Yeah.
But I don't
Jesus.
think it's a game addiction problem. I think it's just a generalized addiction problem,
Yeah.
trying to escape your life through if it's not games, it's going to be something else. So I think the person would need to be treated separately of the fact that they play video games. And I don't think that the video games really need that negative connotation, just like video games don't cause mass shootings, but that comes up every time there's a shooting.
There was
you know?
another article, and it could be because of the mass shooting that happened. That was down south. I think it was like last week. Or the
Oh,
week before.
wasn't it
There-
was that the VFW?
I don't know what it was,
the
but it was a
DMV.
disgruntled employee.
Yeah,
but
yeah, it was a
but either
disgruntled
way, there was
employee.
another article that popped up, and it said that they can link aggressive behavior to And
I read that. Like they
yeah.
did a study with some children where like they had like a third of them play Minecraft, a third of them play Minecraft with swords, and a third of them played Minecraft with guns, which I didn't even know guns were in Minecraft.
Yeah, I didn't know either.
And then they had all the
weird.
kids go into a room, and like it was, I feel like it was pretty arbitrary. Like a certain percent, like a higher percentage of the ones that played Minecraft with guns decided to go for the gun-based toys,
Yeah.
more so than the ones
That's
not playing
obvious.
the gun
Because they won't act out
Minecraft.
what they just saw.
Not
Yeah,
only that,
but
like
just-
I don't own a gun. I've been shooting. I know, like, because like, oh, that's an assault rifle because I've seen it in a game. I mean, but I feel like the same thing is with movies. I mean, you watch enough action movies, you're going to see, you're
Yeah.
gonna see a weapon. You're gonna see that's. I don't think that's gonna make you more aggressive or not.
When I would
But-
write stuff down for like a comic idea or a story idea, a lot of it would be based on a lot of the movies or television shows I'm seeing recently. You get those ideas in your head. And just to link it back, I think both the quote unquote game addiction and the whole like kids not using guns correctly, that all can be boiled down to like poor parenting
Oh,
in
absolutely.
my eyes. But I just thought that
agree.
was something that should be brought up. It's not going to be, or a lot of people are trying to make it so they do not make this an official disease. I mean, I don't even really know how much power the World
what does
Health
it even
Organization
matter?
have. Like,
It's just like so they can get funding for research on
I don't know.
addicting video games. I
Just-
don't know.
I mean,
Maybe.
I just hope it doesn't
Can get-
impede, what they. I know that the microtransaction thing might change the way companies make games, but I don't know if.
Oh, the
this-
laws that they're trying to.
Yeah,
hammer
but I
into
don't
that,
know if,
yeah.
It's like
this-
more gambling than video game addiction.
Yeah,
now.
but I don't know if they would. What would they try and do? Like make something.
Oh no, I think they just want to make it treatable.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, if someone is ignoring,
that's a pill I don't want.
yeah, I don't need that. But like, if someone is ignoring if they're playing 20 hours a day, ignoring everything about their aspect of their life other than games, I do think that needs to be treated. If this leads to people getting help, then fine. I just don't think it needs the negative connotation.
No, I
But-
definitely agree.
Moving into our first official topic that I actually gave you people time to prepare for. Call of Duty.
Joke's on you. I didn't prepare for either of them.
That's unfortunate. The listeners need it's that whole like lowering the bar thing. Like we need to temper
Getting
expectations.
ahead of it. Just getting ahead of it.
Matt doesn't prepare. Don't expect for anything too great.
Be mentally prepared.
On May 30th, Activision released a new trailer for the new Call of Duty game coming out called Call of Duty Modern Warfare. It's the new one coming out by Infinity War. It's a sort of soft reboot featuring some of the characters from the first 3 Modern Warfare games, including Price, I think his name was.
I'm also a little confused because Soap McTavish is in it and he's dead.
Well, that's why I said I think it's a soft reboot. Like because it did look a lot grittier than what the other Modern Warfares were. but-
Apparently, there's dead children in this game.
Yeah, so it's going to be a lot more morbid. The game will feature a campaign, co-op, and multiplayer modes, but no zombies this time around, and they're really pushing cross-play and no season pass. It's set to release on October 25th. This
My
is
birthday.
definitely, this is definitely them doing things a bit differently. It seemed like
But
with
playing it safe.
the last Black Ops, they really hopped on that everyone's doing Battle Royale thing. That's what they want. Oh, that's not what they want. And Call of Duty sales peaked in like 2010, 2011 with like Modern Warfare 3 and I think like the first 1 or 2 Black Ops. Like they've been steadily decreasing in sales ever since. I think Black Ops 4 only sold like somewhere around like 13 to 14 million copies compared to whatever obnoxious amounts Modern Warfare 3 and Black Ops were making back in the day. Modern Warfare 3 is their highest selling Call of Duty.
I think
That was the peak.
Naturally, call it the what was it? Call of Duty and Treyarch
So
kept bouncing around.
it's interesting that they're really trying to push the whole co-op aspect. And, I've never really been I've been neither here or there on crossplay for a while, and I don't really care
Oh, co-op or
too much
crossplay?
about that. Crossplay, I don't really care too much
No,
about
I don't
crossplay.
like the idea.
Co-op's
of playing,
great.
I
enjoy
co-op is great.
co-op.
I don't like the idea of playing with PC people.
Well, that's why I'm
Yeah.
hoping there's a function
I-
where maybe you can just turn that off.
Yeah,
because
'cause
Well, I just don't think
There's
they
an
have this-
advantage.
There's a huge advantage. They can play it. What is it at? Like 120 frames potentially per second compared to. I don't know what if it's going to be on a base.
it's not even that. Just the control people have with the mouse is inherently better than what you have
so
with the
much
controller.
better.
But it's nice if they can get crossplay with like PlayStation and Xbox.
Yeah,
'cause
the
that's
system-
Just,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
just,
The
like that'll
systems,
help
yeah.
smaller games too that don't have millions of people playing. Because if you can find a group, there's
And it seems
potentially
in
twice as
general,
many people.
2 of the 3 consoles have been on board for that for a while now, doing crossplay.
Yeah.
One of them has been a little more stubborn. It may rhyme with Roni, but I don't know. I've said on this podcast before, kind of my back and forth love and detest for the Call of Duty franchise. I've really only ever cared about the multiplayer for it. That's why I'm buying it. I'm going into it knowing I'm only paying for the multiplayer because the campaigns have never interested me, and even the multiplayer for the past two has been very lackluster. WW2 more or less just pissed me off as I was playing it, and then like Black Ops 4,
I can confirm it pissed him off.
Black Ops 4 was fine.
Yeah,
it was fine. I played a few hours.
I played Blackout a bunch, and I played some of the other modes, but I'm just not really super excited about this new one. I guess I'll just have to see more. The trailer was really like technically very impressive. It was like
they're
stunningly realistic.
Switching to a new engine, I think it looks like.
That's why I'm excited for it. I'm wondering if they're going to make it feel a little bit more weighty, like a Battlefield.
They are going to have more destructive environment. That's what I read.
I saw that
articles.
they were also changing the way certain bullets can get through certain pieces of like wood or whatever. So if you have a high caliber bullet, that's going to travel farther through walls, whereas like something like a 9mm will get stopped by like a piece of wood or whatever.
Yeah, and I was watching an Inside Gaming Daily video about it. They did a whole spiel on it, and they brought up a good point. There's no season pass, which I had kind of forgotten about season passes, more or less because I think the only one I ever purchased was for Fallout 4. Did Black Ops 4 have a season pass? Was that a thing with that game
it
still?
had like a 2-tier thing, I think. So you got like a free one, and then you could pay for like an extra tier.
Yeah, so they're doing the exact opposite of what they did with Black Ops 4, where there's no season pass, and they're really, really pushing the fact that they're going to have a campaign. So I'm wondering where their income
Cash
is
money.
going to come from. Like,
Microtransactions. They've already explained that they're going to have some
To
to
sort
what
of-
extent, though?
They're going to do this.
Because
They're going to do reticles. They're going to
season
do
pass.
paints.
Those would cost upwards of what, $30
What did they
or
add?
so?
In a battle royale game? What can you add? Just more.
Well,
items?
I'm
it's
even
like
talking about the
custom-
season pass prior to Black Ops 4.
Well, they added maps, from what I
Yeah, you can add
remember.
different
Multiplayer
costumes,
maps.
different skins for guns.
But now they're
different
putting that out
attachments
for
guns.
free, supposedly, though.
Well, yeah, that's with a microtrans. They've had this before, where they have like, and it's the same thing as you get Call of Duty points, coins, and it's going to be more cosmetic stuff that you can buy.
I would just think that they would make a lot less money doing it that way.
What, without the season pass?
Yeah.
No, well, I think,
Unless they're going to force us to buy the map packs individually like we used to do, like back when like the Halo games came out and you'd have to buy
I think
them every time.
that's what they were saying, is that they want to get all the people together, and a way to do that is to not have a season pass. Now, that doesn't necessarily, they might have some sort of kind of like what Apex has, where they have like, that down, where they have like challenges, and
Yeah.
I'm sure that you'll be able to pay, potential money to unlock certain unique items. But there are COD points, which was in the last one, and the COD points you could bypass if you had real money. I mean,
So I'm wondering if this is Activision trying to
right the ship.
right the ship, or if this is damage control, or a little bit of both, because Activision in general has been not doing great. 2018 was not their best year. They lost Bungie. I believe that happened earlier this year or last year. I
Yep.
can't remember which, but
Yep.
that's in recent. And Blizzard lately has been really hemorrhaging. They're losing a lot of their people at Blizzard right now. A lot of their top people. A lot of their they have no new IPs coming out this year. A lot of their they're losing a lot of revenue that they used to have. So I'm wondering if Activision is trying to just do damage control with this whole Call of Duty thing. Like let's at least bring people back to our major franchise or tentpole franchise, because everything else is kind of falling apart under us.
I kind of going back to what I think we talked about it a few weeks ago, or a few podcasts ago, about which company really needs to win E3. And I really think this Star Wars game needs to blow people away and get them.
Well, that's EA.
I mean, you're right. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of the wrong thing.
I mean,
Okay.
they have to do good
then
too.
I'm EA Activision. I keep getting them.
I mean,
mixed
they're
up.
both kind of the same
All right,
thing.
so
Big
they have to win big,
conglomerates.
but Call of Duty, I feel like, has to win people back, because I think people are on the tail end of, all right, I'm gonna go play Fortnite for free, or I'm gonna go play
Apex for free.
Apex for free. I'm gonna play
Yeah.
these types of
Every
games
year
for
seems
free.
like kind of a lot. They have one of these games every year, and I feel like the updates and changes they make have not been that impressive.
Well, and I think that's
So
one
it's
of the.
kinda like playing
I don't know
Madden
how
for
World
the
War II
ninth
did
time in a row.
financially.
Not. I can pull up the sales numbers, but it was nowhere near the top. It was like maybe like 7th or 8th. Like it didn't.
Top of the charts. I feel like it would always
For
be
Call
number-
of Duty games.
Oh, for Call of Duty games. Okay.
That's what I'm saying. I think those are the numbers
mean,
they're paying attention to. But like a lot like what you just said, Matt. Like every year they have a new game, but like Fortnite's been out for like what 3 years now. Like with all these like free to play games, like that might
play
be a
Apex.
huge reason why those yearly game numbers are dwindling, is because like there are these continuous options, and they tried to like get into that market, and it
Yeah, and
didn't work for
instead
them.
of updating them for a year, like they've been updating it like every few weeks for the last like 3 years.
Yeah.
Apex, it's kind of new, but I'm sure they'll be supporting that for years to come. So you don't
Yeah.
have to buy a whole new game every
I
year.
hope so. I love playing it.
Yeah.
Like
I don't know. I'm excited for the Call of Duty. I'm gonna get it. I mean, I obviously want to see the multiplayer, but I guess there's also going to be an expanded, instead of, I think it's like 7-on-7 or 6-on-6 is what they typically do for Call of Duty. This one's going to be 10-on-10. So at that point, obviously, if you're going to have more people on the map, the maps would be a little bit bigger. And I think that was my biggest gripe in Call of Duty, was that the maps were, you spawn, you are within shooting range of a person already, and it's just not enough. I need a second to be like, all right, what's the situation? Where is everyone coming? Because it basically felt like you would push to the other side, and then the spawn point would shift behind you. And
Well,
then you turn around.
that's been Call of Duty forever.
Exactly, and I feel like that was the one thing that I got bored of, because you just push through, and then you get the kill streak, and then the kill streak keeps killing them, and you just keep running from side to side, and I feel like a little bit bigger map would definitely do Call of Duty justice to make it kind of in between what a regular Call of Duty map is and what Battlefield maps are, where they're obnoxiously huge. But I just, like I said, I'm excited for it. I love the grittier, realistic
I just don't want to feel like a
campaign.
sucker again.
Yeah, I'm gonna try not to hold judgment. Like I've always been like a lukewarm Call of Duty fan, so I just need to hear a lot more before
I
I'm
set
sold on it.
my expectation bar so low for World War II. I'm like, you know what? I don't
the
plan
Matt
on
move.
I don't plan on playing the campaign. I just wanted to play a fun multiplayer, and I didn't even get that. So that's where my issue lies. Is I can't even trust them to do that. Now, which studio made World War II? Was that Infinity Ward, or was that Treyarch, or was that Sledgehammer?
I
have no idea.
believe
One of those is no longer with them.
I believe it was Sledgehammer. I don't quote me on
Because
that.
I don't know, I didn't play the last Infinity Ward one, because I think that was probably Infinite War was the last Infinity Ward one. See, they all kind of run
I
together.
know they
it's
all
all the same to me.
Well, I
Like-
think once they went to the future, I lost my mind, because it used to be obvious. It used to be Treyarch did the old stuff, and then Infinity Ward did, or not Infinity Ward.
I
What
didn't
was that
want
one?
to do Black Ops.
Yeah, they did the new one. So there was always the Modern Warfare, and then the World War II, and then they were
Yeah.
like, we're gonna jump to the future. So it was like, all right, fine, you're the future people with the normal people, with the modern warfare people.
I'm always willing to give them any game studio another chance if I'm going to enjoy the game. I'm not going to like willfully not play the game if I think it's going to be fun. I think this is going to be one of those situations where I have GameFly now, so I'll GameFly it, and then if I like it enough, I'll buy it.
Sledgehammer made it.
Sledgehammer made World War
World
II.
War II.
Well, maybe
So
they
this is
deserve to be
different.
gone. Maybe I feel bad for all those workers. I'm just saying, like, I did not enjoy that Call of Duty. I know I might be in the minority as far as Call of Duty, hardcore fans go, but I haven't enjoyed one. I generally enjoyed Black Ops 3. I maybe played one of those other weird futuristic moderations with you, Dan, and then I generally enjoyed the first 3 Modern Warfares, and I'm talking it specifically from a multiplayer angle, because that's what I'm looking to do with those games. That's the only multiplayer game that I looked forward to the campaign as well was Halo, but I can't do Halo no more because I don't have no Xbox no more.
No, you
so
don't.
Well, you got a 360. You can play that.
I can go back and play the good Halos, yeah.
And you were right. The last Infinity Ward title was Call of Duty Infinite Warfare.
Which I didn't play.
People
so-
did not. Initially, I know once
I
they
think
were
that
in
was just
space-
fatigue at that point.
Well, I think it was the futuristic thing. I mean, I personally only played the campaign for like 10 minutes.
I did remember seeing like, oh, they're going into space, and then I just kind of laughed and never looked at it again.
Yeah, wasn't
Yeah.
there a bunch of nukes in these games? Like the story, that's why they're doing this soft reset, because like there's so much crazy stuff that's happened in all these games that they're like,
just
we gotta calm down.
I don't know why they. I was hoping for just a prequel, because I mean, I don't know when they make this timeline thing where Soap's back to life.
Well, see, that's where
Soap
I
was
don't,
dead.
I don't really
He
care
was-
about the timeline at all.
I do. I
That's
feel like
that's
this
where
is
you kind
weird.
of lose me.
Where's the if they made it like a different crew or something? I understand.
Well,
that's
maybe
not-
they'll be like, "Oh, surprise! He was alive because of this reason." I don't. How did he die? Did he take a bullet to the brain? Because I mean, you can't really come back from that.
Wait a minute. Was that?
Okay, we're not spending another hour trying to watch you remember how he died, though. I
Oh
will
well,
say that.
no. He died in Modern Warfare 3. He died. He died on like somebody shot him, and then he went like on a table, and they tried to resurrect him or whatever. And
Spoiler
all right, so
alert.
at that point,
Spoiler alert! I took a pill that stopped my heart rate. I'm actually alive. There you go.
well, not only that, the enemies could have came in, brought him back to life, and all right.
Uh,
So there's room for okay.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So, Call of Duty comes out on Dan's birthday, October 25th, 2019. I'll most likely get suckered into at least trying the multiplayer with Gamefly and then seeing if I like it.
Oh.
As long as I know one other person that's buying the multiplayer. Which
That
I'm
is
looking at
one multiplayer I'll probably play for a little bit.
But I'll still play Apex with Matt.
Yeah, Apex. Let's waste my
This morning, Nintendo had a Pokemon Direct. The new footage for Pokemon Sword and Shield features some new Pokemon designs, a larger world, and a look into some of the new game features. One of the new features is called Dynamaxing, which makes the Pokemon grow to the size of buildings in
big
order
Pokemon.
to fight.
So Ant-Man, got it.
Yeah, reverse Ant-Man, or I guess he could also grow big in those movies. They also had like some multiplayer raids they added into the mix for like local and online play. It's set to release in November of 2015. Matt, what did you think of the Pokemon Direct?
I didn't love it. I've been waiting for like since Pokemon, Gold and Silver for Pokemon to like evolve and maybe get some new improvements. And I'm sure someone's screaming saying like, "What, they did all this?
Well, they did
this,
Soul
they did
Silver
this."
and Heart Gold, which were great.
Yeah, and it's like
improvements
the
to great
games.
games.
I mean, I guess maybe I've kind of aged out of it, but I feel like there's a lot of people my age still playing these games, so I haven't aged out of it. It still seems like it's going to be super like slow, and the battling still seems like it's the same battling you've done before, and the world itself seems like the same thing you would see in maybe like a 3DS or a DS version of the game. Like it doesn't seem like, oh, this is this huge, crazy Nintendo Switch like.
It doesn't seem like a console game.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like a console game, exactly. It doesn't feel like, the Zelda game on Switch or something where you can, like, explore and go to different places. It just seems like, oh, there's going to be a small city, and then, Vermilion City, and then there's going to be, like, a road that you have to go, like, a straight road with some bushes, and that's going to be kind of it. And then they kind of have that weird, you can make your guys bigger once per fight, and they, for like three turns
or
yeah,
something.
they'll be, like,
Yeah.
the size of a house.
Dynamaxing.
And it just
They
seems
couldn't
like
have come up with a worse name for it.
It seems like this very shoehorned, like, look, we're doing different
gimmick.
stuff. Yeah, like gimmicky.
It's a gimmick.
So
They did it with Mega Evolution.
yeah,
Or they did it in Sun and Moon with the whole like they had these weird like you did a little dance move and your Pokemon got really powerful for like one attack or something.
yeah. So I'm still definitely gonna check it out, but I kind of want to see more. I'm hoping there's more to it. Like
It did say
maybe-
all game footage is not final, which does make me hold out hope that it's going to look better.
Yeah, maybe they'll
but-
do one of those cool things where when you beat the game, you'll go back to like one of the other regions or something. That'd be really cool, I guess.
Yeah, I was actually talking to a friend about that. I really can't remember who I was talking about. Oh, it was over this past weekend. I was talking to one of my girlfriend's cousins about this. That one of the best parts about Pokemon Gold and Silver was after you beat it, you could go back and play the original Red and Blue.
Yeah.
And fight the original character from Red and Blue, and like you could go through basically that entire first two games in the second game. And that was like a huge deal, and they have not done something that nostalgic since.
Yeah, so I'm kind of hoping there's something like that we haven't heard about yet. So.
Yeah. I was very underwhelmed. There was a couple of things that I liked. For instance, I enjoyed the new Pokemon designs, which normally they show me the new Pokemon designs, and I'm like, well, that's god awful. These ones I was kind of like, oh, those are kind of cute. I like them as like a dinosaur or a new sheep.
Just looks like a sheep though. It barely looks different than a sheep.
It looks better than the current sheep Pokemon we got. Like Mareep,
true.
Mareep looks like she's got like bumblebees trying to swarm into her head, where this one just looks like
Earmuffs.
a real sheep. But yeah, so I liked the designs, and I did like that they showed you what they called the wild, which was like the entire open world area. I'm like, that's In my head, I'm thinking like conceptually, that's what I wanted. That big open world, go anywhere. There's Pokemon just kind of walking around. But even that was underwhelming. Like,
Yeah.
Dan, I know you've mentioned to me plenty of times that not necessarily one of your gripes, but something that Breath of the Wild could do better was there was like a huge world, but you didn't feel like there was enough in it. I disagreed. I thought that about this Pokemon game, though, so I can only imagine that you think it is just completely decimated if I think there's nothing in the world.
Yeah, I mean,
You're already not huge on the whole Pokemon turn-based battle games anyways.
no. Well, my big hope when they said that there's a new Pokemon game came out, I immediately thought of like battle. What do they call it? Combat styles like Ni no Kuni from PlayStation 3, whereas something where you're actually controlling the Pokemon itself rather than just picking the attack. I feel like that would have been a nice updated change where it still keeps the fight, where you're still fighting one-on-one. And ever since I realized that it's another turn-based game, I'm just completely turned off by it. Whatever they do now, I'm just not that interested. I just immediately just bought Pokemon, or was it Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu? Because I was like, I can get the game now. I can get the game cheaper, and I don't have to wait. So I was like, screw it. I'll just play that and skip this.
Yeah,
So not my thing.
Let's Go is still turn-based, though.
It is turn-based, but it's just I was hoping for something new. I was really hoping for something.
I do like
down, but
the open world aspect, 'cause that's what I was really looking forward to. Like, you're suddenly in the desert, in this desert storm, and there's just a Tyranitar walking around. Like, it kind of made me feel like when I saw the Pokemon movie, it was kind of cool to see them in real life. But again, if I saw this and I knew it was a 3DS title, I would be like really wowed. But because it's a console title, I was expecting something more. I had higher expectations. Actually, my it didn't even meet my low bar expectation, to be honest, because I didn't necessarily need it to be graphically impressive, which it definitely wasn't. But I was looking forward to something more. I will say one thing that did intrigue me is I remember in the old games you would do these things. They're gym battles. And every time I went in, like, when I saw the show, there was always, like, a huge stadium when you went to the Pokemon League and everything, and there'd be, like, a lot of people. But then you would play the game, and you'd go into a gym. I'm doing air quotes. They can't see it, though. You'd go into a gym, and there'd be, like, a couple of guys there and a gym leader. It didn't really seem too fantastic. In this one, you're actually going into a stadium filled with generally enthused people. Not excited people. Generally enthused. That stuck out to me. In the middle... So, and this is just kind of normal Japanese fashion, normal Japanese culture. The people who were talking to you about the game from Game Freak were very like straight-faced while they were talking to you. The guy who was dubbing them sounded a bit more excited than the guys looked. I just remember hearing him say, "You'll be in a stadium with people, and you'll be battling in the middle of all these people, and there will be peak excitement." And as they said peak excitement, you saw pictures of the crowd, and none of the people in the crowd in the game looked excited. And they weren't moving all that much. It looked very like, it just didn't look very like nothing about it excited me. It's disappointing because Mario Odyssey excited me. Breath of the Wild excited me. The thought of Metroid Prime 4 excites me. Switch is bringing a bit more to all of these like huge Nintendo franchises, and I was just really hoping that Pokemon was going to be that next leap, because I'm kind of in the same boat as you, Matt, where maybe I've just outgrown Pokemon, but they just have not changed enough over time to keep me interested.
I just think they haven't changed enough. Like, it's the same game.
It is.
I mean, for better or worse, it's the same game.
Well, on top of that, like every encounter is essentially the same. You walk up to them, you get into the fight, and all you're doing is choosing. There's no
One of like 4 moves.
Exactly,
tops.
one of the 4 moves. That's all it is. And then I just feel like that's kind of boring. And you can't have multiple Pokemon fighting at once, so there's no strategy in that.
Well, you can.
Well, there's some 2v2s you can
Well,
do.
there's some, but it's not like
It's not an option.
It's not a primary, like, you start out with 2, and that'd be neat. Like, oh, there's 2 water Pokemon. All right, obviously I'm gonna need to counter that. So you put 2 out that are different. So unfortunately, it just didn't. Well, immediately once I heard the battle system was the same, I just was like, eh.
Yeah, and the gimmick thing is really getting to me too. Like I said, there's been noticeably more. It's been more noticeable that they've been adding a gimmick into every one of the last few Pokemon games. A couple games ago, it was Mega Evolution, where your Pokemon could like digivolve for a moment into like a bigger, weirder form. And then last game, it was this thing, I forget what they called it, but you could do this dance and your Pokemon would have this special move. And like that was like the big thing. And now it's your Pokemon's bigger.
Woo.
And I just felt like that was so lazy.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just it's unfortunate. I don't want to sit here and just completely like I said, there were a couple things that interested me, but I mean at this point it doesn't look like they did enough for me to shell out $60 for it.
Yeah, I'll still probably get it just because I'm a sucker and I want to play the first console Pokemon game, but not super.
I'm hoping that before November I see maybe footage that does not say not final footage on the bottom, and maybe that will push me. But yeah, as of now, like just Sun and Moon just didn't do it for me enough where like I just can't see myself buying another one. But yeah, it comes out November 15th on Nintendo Switch, and just Nintendo Switch. No Pokemon game for the 3DS this time. Actually, I think they're pretty much done with the 3DS at this point. I think it's kind of like
It's nice we're finally
Next.
getting dates for some of these games.
that's true. We'll get into E3 a little later. I'll talk about a few dates I'm still waiting for. Moving on, Apex Season 2 has gotten some information, or Battle Pass Season 2, and it's got a new patch as well. So we received a lot of new Apex details last week, including a patch that has already been added. It added some weekly and daily challenges, as well as, what was it called? Like a dragon special. Do you remember what
There's like a wild.
it's like a Bangalore's Wild Hunt,
Yeah.
or Bloodhound's Wild Hunt
Yeah.
type thing. And also added some pretty noticeable stability improvements to the game. The gameplay seemed, which I already thought was tight, seemed a little tighter, which was really nice. But yeah, they have some weekly and daily challenges now, which I think are really cool, that give you some special items. They also added an elite stage where like if you come in the top 5, you unlock like Apex Elite, where you can play with other people who were also, one in like the top 5. So it's like playing with the better people, basically.
Yeah.
Kind of like, I don't want to call it a ranked match, but just playing with not people who just started playing.
Yeah, and to be clear, the
Basically.
weekly and daily challenges haven't started yet. Those are in like 2 weeks when is it 2 or 3 weeks?
Well,
when
yeah,
the
all
new
right.
season comes
So
out?
there's the season.
There's two things
The
here. I
season
just
2
don't want
pass
to
is
get
coming out,
mixed
which is
up.
going to introduce regular weekly and daily challenges. But until then, we kind of had a palate cleanser,
Yeah, basically
kind of
like that.
tasting of the weekly and daily challenges just for this special event. Sorry, I should have clarified that. The season 2 pass is going to include not only those regular challenges, but it's also going to give us some better stuff with the pass, which I know that was my biggest gripe with the pass, was not only was the progression slow, but like the stuff they were giving me was just rubbish. But they're taking it, like a lot of what they gave us this time, this battle pass, was like, oh, you get like the character says this about season 1, or this banner, or this badge, like stupid stuff that I don't care about. This time they're
Track your
replacing
kills.
that with a lot of like cosmetic stuff that you can get. And I think they said it made it almost seem like they're not only going to have skins for people, but like maybe they're going to do something.
Yeah,
a
they
little
said they're
different
adding
with the
like
skins.
2 or 3 new categories. So like I don't know if maybe it'll be like hats or something like that. But it seems like there's gonna be newer things to get.
More cosmetics is better than what we got on the battle pass now, but they're also adding more legendary items than they did this previous battle pass.
Can I ask
So
you guys a question?
yeah,
You may.
How important is it for a character's outfit when you play in first person? When you only see it from, I'm just thinking that. Like, I think that might be why I just don't care. Is
Well, you
because,
see it
wow,
when
I
you're
unlocked this-
jumping. Everyone else can see it, so
But
it's
you
kind of
see-
like
but you
you're
see it for
showing it
like a-
off. You can see
You
your
see it
hands
for
and
like
stuff.
a part. That's it. I can understand if this is like a third person game, but I'm just listening to you two talking about like, oh,
Well-
you get a hat, and it's like, yeah, but you don't get to.
I didn't
see...
sound too excited.
Well, you
about
see all the
that.
guns
I was
and
just
stuff,
saying
too.
Yeah,
that
but
was a
like
thing.
I don't even like I understand, Andy, why you gave the $10. You felt like you paid for, you got the game for free.
Well, they earned the
They
$10.
earned. What I'm saying is, but now I feel like that's it. Like, even if I felt charitable to give them the $10, which I didn't because I got my fill of it, and again, multiplayer, it needs to have a single player for me to want to really put an investment. That's just personally for me. But when it comes to these first person like unlockables, you're not getting, and not only that, you get a gun skin. It's only when you get that gun, and the chances in a multiplayer to get that gun are not 100%. It's maybe like 20% to get that gun that you want, especially if it's like the legendary. But
So you gotta get
But on top of that,
skins for all the guns.
well, yeah, you get it for all the guns, but the like when it's in first person, you can only see your wrist, and not only that, you can't even see your full wrist. You can only see like maybe some
So
fingers.
here's the thing.
That's why it's
I'm
a hard
not-
sell for me.
That's not necessarily why I like. So here's the thing. I enjoy playing the game, but I also like having a goal in the game.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's
yeah,
what it is
no,
for
I
me.
understand
It's
too,
just-
So
but-
yeah,
it's a
unlocking
box to
things
check.
is a goal. So it's giving me something else to fight for while I'm playing the game.
Like when you're playing the battle pass.
It's not
like,
necessarily about like, oh my god, I need to
I
give
want
them
to get
$10 because
I want to get to
really
level 100,
want-
so I can get that level 100 gun.
Well, see, things in first person that I feel like would benefit would be maybe you can change or update the reticle to a different style, or
Yeah,
how
maybe they
about
could do that.
what is it?
Said maybe they could do that.
Well, that's
Well,
something
no,
that's
Dan,
actually
nothing you're saying is wrong.
no, I understand that, but that's what if it was a third person game where I was running around and I could see my character, I'd be like, all right, yeah, I have to look at my character, but literally it's only like his wrist.
Well, it's the same thing in Overwatch. Overwatch, all of the skins, that game is in first person. You're only seeing the skins when certain special animations or certain things in game. Like in Apex, you see the skins when you're assassinating someone. But I mean,
Yeah, but
it's just a cool thing to
And
unlock.
it's kind of fun. Like some of them are rare. Like maybe next year, if I'm still playing Apex, I'll have the level 110 gun from the first season, and like not a lot of people will have it at that point because it'll be a lot of you can only get it at a certain point. So it's part of like, oh man, I got this. I was one of the only people to get this, and I've gotten.
Not to mention, if you finish the season 1 battle pass, you have enough coins to get the season 2 battle pass for free.
Yeah, which is nice.
Okay.
So
It's
No,
not like you're
I-
actually spending
well,
extra money.
No,
but-
it's just I was just because you like I said, you guys are talking about cosmetic stuff, and I was like, that's neat, especially in a third person game. But I just have zero care when it came.
When
to
I'm not
first
spending
person.
money.
So I don't like I said that was just my
When I'm not
question.
spending, I'm much more excited about the challenges than
Well, the
anything.
challenges are neat. Or getting like
when I'm not spending any money on the cosmetics. They're exciting to get. I don't want to only spend money just for cosmetics. That's why I needed something.
yeah, it's like a nice change to the game, even though the gameplay is not changing. It's like you're playing the same game over and over, so it's nice to have something. Oh, nice!
Oh,
I
you
got the
need
sweet new
something.
gun,
I
yeah.
completely agree with that. You need something to work towards.
And
it's
make
just,
the game a little different.
Yeah, I mean, I like the cosmetics. I think they're cool.
No. It's not that it was just the question because that seems like the big sell point of is the cosmetics is I want something for my character because when you get like a voice thing, nobody seems really excited. From when I've played it with people,
Yeah, they
nobody
never really
seems
use those
really
in games. So
But that's why I was saying that that still doesn't entice me. Like, oh great, so I got a skin, but it's only and why is it only? This is legendary. Personally, I think that legendary looks like really stupid, and I'd rather a common one. I don't know, and like I said, I don't even see it. So I wanted to get your perspective on that compared to mine.
I think it's also because we like the game.
true.
I do like the game. I just got really. I did like the game a lot.
For us, it's cool because we're currently playing and enjoying the game, and just on top of that, we can unlock different and cool skins to just see on our characters. You can't see it in game, but it just adds to it. Is all. It's not the reason we're playing. I'm playing because it's a fun game.
It is like I said, it is a fun game. I just don't think that
That's not the big selling point.
I don't think the pass. Well, to even give him more money, I don't even think it's personally worth it to give him more money just for a few cosmetic changes. If they have free passes, I would have just done that.
Again,
That's why
I'm not giving them more money though.
Okay, so that you won't give him any.
I'm gonna finish the season 1 battle pass, and that's gonna give me enough coinage to get the season 2 battle pass for free.
Okay, so you're just working towards it just so you can get them going forward because.
Well, yeah, that's the whole point.
Well, yeah, but I'm trying to think how can.
But I also-
I'm thinking of
In
the
addition
regular.
to cosmetics, you're basically getting $10 because you're getting the next one for free if you complete the battle pass.
Okay,
But also, I don't mind. I love playing this game, and I have been playing for free, and I do not mind supporting that.
okay.
I don't-
No, it's just
Because they're providing me kind of like on Pokemon Go. I've given them like $5, I think, over my time because they've provided me with. God, I don't know how many hours of Pokemon Go I've played, but that's the thing. I want to show them support for something that they are doing that I enjoy. It's not just about the cosmetics; it's about the upkeep of the game.
Okay. No,
Yeah,
I
there'll be
just
some
like I
other
said.
stuff. Like season 2, I think there's like a bunch of rumors about they're going to change the map. It's going to have some additions
See,
to it, which
that
will be really cool.
Is something that
They've
I've
already
That's
done,
the
like,
thing. Fortnite does a lot of frequent updates.
Yeah.
But here's another thing that was brought up recently that I didn't think about. So when Apex came out, Fortnite really quickly
Stole all their stuff.
stole all of those mechanics and popped them into Fortnite. And Apex only has like a tenth of the numbers that Fortnite does on Twitch right now. So it like peaked really early and then went down in numbers because they weren't adding enough content. But at the same time, that's probably because Respawn wasn't forcing all of their workers to work like triple overtime
They should
to
have.
keep that going.
They were with Fortnite.
Most likely, how to do a quick turnaround like that, they added that stuff in pretty quickly. Like to keep a game like Fortnite going now, they're also rolling in dough over at Epic Games, so I'm not going to be surprised if they just have the workforce to accomplish that. But you hear that a lot in the game industry now, where people are overworked to meet deadlines, and Respawn made this really good game, and then they didn't have immediate gratifying updates for it, but I also wasn't really needing that. But also I have it in the back of my mind that maybe that's just because they have their workers working on the Star Wars game instead of immediately updating the crap out of this Apex game. That being said, I am looking forward to something fresh with it. That'd be cool if the map starts changing. It seems like they can really have a decent story behind the scenes with the characters, so I'm wondering if maybe they can start doing a little more with that other than just like a quip here and there. But I'm excited. I'm sorry, everybody. I just knocked down a glass. That was the noise. Moving on.
Andy, you gotta stop.
Yeah, the update was kind of cool because actually they did a bunch of small minor changes that they haven't done in a while. Like they added a bunch of more items to the pit, if you're familiar with that. And then like Mirage's ultimate, which was god awful. I guess they made him like harder to spot because he kind of turns invisible.
Oh,
but you can very clearly still see him. So it was like
he's like a dotted line.
Yeah, so it was an awful.
Any idiot could see a dotted line.
Yeah, so hopefully that's actually like kind of turns you completely invisible, so no one can actually see you for a few seconds.
There's more to come. They haven't announced everything they're going to announce. There's going to be more on June 8th.
Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday during E3, which we will get to in a little bit. Moving on, the final 12 games of the Sega Genesis Mini. That's right, 12, not 10. They surprised us and did a full 42 games.
Bamboozled.
We were, as Mirage would say. So the final 12 games of the Sega Genesis Mini are Tetris, Darius, Virtua Fighter 2, Alicia Dragoon, Monster World 4, Kid Chameleon, Road Rash 2, Eternal Champions, Columns, Dynamite Heady, Dynamite Heady, Strider, and Light Crusader. I know very few of these games.
I own Dynamite Heady.
What's a Tetris? Is that some sort of... Is that like a fantasy game?
That is like the rarest version of Tetris ever made, basically.
The Sega one?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't even know it came out on Sega, actually.
They only, like, they never released it. They're like 10 copies or something like that. Crazy.
They did the only one thing I wanted them to do. There's Road Rash 2 is there.
Yeah. I guess there were issues with
Road
Tetris.
Rash?
That's the one where you're on a motorcycle and you're hitting it with chains.
Oh, that's the one that they just recently came out for Xbox and PlayStation 4, and it was terrible.
Like a reboot?
Like it was terrible.
Well, the one for Sega was great.
Okay, no, that's what I know. A lot of people were disappointed because it was like, I guess Road Rash was like.
I've never seen the first one. I've only played Road Rash 2, but I just remember it being great. It's just that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm excited to try this Tetris and see if it's any good because I know when it came out, when it was coming out, I guess they made the game and then like there were some licensing issues, so they stopped production completely. So,
is that because like? Tetris has had a very odd.
It's been super
licensing
weird,
road.
yeah. With the
it's like
Soviet
Nintendo
Union.
maybe owned it, but maybe didn't.
Yeah,
like it was really weird. I remember there was a Tetris game for the Super Nintendo that came out that was god awful. It was because it wasn't real Tetris. It was called Tetris 2, but it was just like very bizarre. There was dinosaurs involved for some reason. I wasn't sure. It didn't play like regular Tetris. They tried to like change up the formula, which Tetris is just one of those games where you don't change up the formula. Kid Chameleon I've heard of, but never played.
Kid Chameleon is the one I'm most excited about on this new list. So it was actually made, one of the lead designers on it was Mark Cerny, the guy that...
the PlayStation guy.
PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5.
The guys whose parents are carnies, as I've established.
Mark Cerny.
In his backstory on a previous episode.
The one who made Marble Madness when he was like 17. That game was really fun. It was like over 100 levels, and you basically looked like a little punk kid with like a leather jacket. Like I don't know if you've ever seen the Monster Squad, but that.
I thought you were
Monster
I thought you were talking about Marble Madness. I'm like,
so you're basically
what?
If you've seen Monster Squad, you're like that like older, cooler kid that like the other kids look up to, and you've got like a leather jacket, and and you kind of look like the Fonz a little bit, and
Eee.
and I guess there's this. So the story is there's a video arcade that's basically like eating children, like killing them when they play. So to go in, he has to go into the video game and basically beat the video game to save them and all that jazz. And it was actually pretty interesting for its time. Like you would get these different costumes, and they would kind of change your character. So there would be like one where you could get a helmet and you would turn into a tank, and there's one that would turn you into this guy that could like do basically like tornado twists into the air. There was like a bunch of different suits that you could basically get. It was really fun.
I gotta be honest.
It was super
I'm
hard,
really thinking
what I
about
remember.
getting this now. I've
I'm
been like
so in.
slowly. I think just after the PlayStation Mini that I did not buy because that left a bad taste in my mouth. I think I was just kind of turned off because we've discussed this before. I got the NES and SNES Classic because those were a lot of the games that I really wanted to play that I hadn't had the chance to yet. But I never owned a Sega. And I haven't played really any of these games except
some of
on
these are
like
classics.
friends' houses.
Toe Jam and Earl, Earthworm Jim, Sonic games, Mega Man, Alex Kidd.
For 42
everything.
games, $80 isn't
Vector
bad.
Man. Yeah.
Vector Man, yeah. What about you, Dan? Still on the fence, or
I'm not gonna get it. It's just there's not so many that I absolutely loved. Yeah, it does.
you really didn't have a Sega growing up either, right?
No, I did.
Oh, you did?
I did. Yep. I still have my original Dynamite Heady.
Yeah, this only has like one or two games that I
freaking
wouldn't.
weird.
So
That I'd
so
want.
just coming from someone else who seems like they're coming from the same perspective as me, because I was originally very turned off from this. What made you want the SNES and NES Classic more than this Sega Mini?
Just because I feel the percentage of games I liked on there was a lot higher than on here. I mean, not that I may, enjoy a lot of these games, but for nostalgia wise, I mean, Streets of Rage 2.
I just figured as a collector.
This one also
you
has
As a
more
collector,
games
yeah,
than
but I
those.
mean, on top of that, a lot of those other games for the...
I mean, I don't knock you for not getting the PlayStation Classic. That was hot garbage. Or did you get that eventually?
No, I would get the PlayStation 1, but I just don't think it was worth $100. It's not worth $40 if it
Was that
dropped-
$100 when it came out?
Yeah.
The
Oh,
PlayStation 1,
Jesus.
yeah. I got it for 40.
So
Was there a certain price tag you'd get this one at?
the Sega,
Yeah.
yes, that's different. Just not for 80.
80 does seem a little high just compared to the
But
Nintendo
that's
ones.
not
but
to say I think for you this is awesome. I think because
I don't own any of those.
honestly,
games.
Contra Hardcore is one of my favorite games. I just
I just want to pay $80
Well,
to play
$80
Road
was how
Rash
much
2.
the SNES Classic was, right?
Was that 80 or 60?
I think the
one was
regular
60,
was
then the
NES.
Super NES was
And this one comes
80.
with like
The
more
SNES
games.
is like one of the best systems ever made. Like that was like the reason the SNES was an automatic for me is because those were a lot of games that I knew of that I had been wanting to play for a while. Earthbound.
Well, they're also extremely rare.
Not to mention super rare. Secret of Mana. I had already played Final Fantasy 3, quote unquote, Final Fantasy 6, but like to be able to just have a different version of that. I had my favorite Mega Man on it. I think. No, it had Mega Man X on it. Yeah, that's right, Mega Man X. I was thinking of Mega Man 6. Just like a treasure trove of games that I had never gotten to play. But that's also kind of what I see here. Not only that, like the SNES Classic had what, like 21, 22 games on it?
I think it had like 30.
30 for 80? This is like 42 games for
yeah.
80. So like
Is there anything missing on here that you would have wanted?
I don't know enough about the Sega collection to know.
Yeah, because like I was looking at this. These are a lot of some of the games that I've really enjoyed playing. There's two that I can think of. Zombies Ate My Neighbors, which was an awesome where you started off with basically squirt guns and you had to save all your neighbors. It was kind of this wacky, fun 2-player co-op game where you could play the whole game 2-player. And the other one was, I'm kind of surprised that one isn't on it because it's kind of like a cult classic and I'm sure it would be too hard for them to get. The other one was Biohazard Battle, which was like a space shooter, kind of like I don't even know how to describe it. Like any of those kind of space shooter games. It was a lot of fun, but I think that wasn't really popular. It's just I played that a lot with a friend of mine when I was growing up. So
All of the Sega
but everything
games,
else is great.
all of the really good Sega games that I'm aware of
Vector Man.
are on the list. So that's, and just knowing that aside from like some of the Sonic collections, I've never even had a chance to own any of these games. Like, they really, like, they've done some Sega collections. I've just never gotten them. Again, I've had like really no connection to Sega over the years. I think that's why it interests me so much. But yeah, I'm probably unless I hear that there's going to be like a shortage, I'm probably going to still wait for the price to drop. Like SNES, there was like no question.
Yep.
I was on that immediately. I was emailing. I think I was like texting both of you, like, "Oh, I was able to get it here. Just keep refreshing the target site." I think I was in the middle of working out at the gym. I just kept like pump once, refresh, pump once, refresh, and I eventually got it. And I was really excited. And then eventually they did do the smart decision and make
Were you
more.
part of the Walmart group where that you were able
that
to
happened to
pre-order
me.
it and then it canceled?
Yeah,
I
that
was
happened to me.
so furious.
This one seems like it won't be that hard to get because I was able to pre-order it like when it was first announced without any issue, and from what I've heard, I don't think there's been any
I'm
sort
pretty
of
sure
shortage.
you can just go to
since,
GameStop online.
Yeah, like
right
they
now.
have Mean Bean Machine. They have Echo the Dolphin. Oh, did they have that? What's that red dot guy? Is he on here somewhere? The guy who became the 7-Up mascot.
They do not have
Was that even a
on
good
here.
game?
I
The red dot with the sunglasses.
Spot.
Who became Spot? He became the 7-Up mascot for a while.
I don't remember.
I can't remember if he was the mascot and then became a game,
I
or
feel
if
like
he
I
was a
have good
game.
memories of that game, but that could be like dumb 6-year-old Matt.
Oh look, Puyo Puyo and
So-
Puyo Puyo 2.
You can play the hardest Contra game ever made.
Oh, the
Gunstar Heroes is one of my favorites too.
Hardcore.
Oh, Contra Hardcore, yeah.
Yeah.
Column. What's Columns?
There's a lot of good like 2-player games. I'm glad it comes with 2 controllers, like Twitch.
Yeah, that's another thing. Yeah,
Heroes.
I'm really excited that a lot of these classics have come with like 2 controllers. Like,
Hopefully it doesn't suffer from the NES Classic issue where the cord is like 6 inches long.
yeah. But anyways, so yeah, it's gonna be $80 retail. We'll see how it does. I'm hoping that they keep the stock pretty high, or keep the stock pretty high, so it eventually goes down in price. So Andy ends up buying one.
I mean the NES and SNES haven't really had any sales yet, right? That I'm aware of. So
Well,
you
no.
might be out of luck
Well-
if it's not a piece of garbage like the PlayStation one.
What happened with those is they just made so few.
Yeah,
And then eventually they made more. And I remember at one point I saw just shelves of them, but those are all gone now. Eventually they sold out, but they never went on sale. So I guess we'll see.
That is Nintendo's ML though. Nothing
so-
goes on sale.
Oh yeah, that is kind of there. Unless they make like a select version of it or something like
Oh,
that,
yeah,
or a
with the
special.
Zelda.
But you don't really see that with like a system or a special edition system like that. Moving on, the final E3 schedule is a boot. So I figured we could kind of go through each of the time frames and then I don't know, maybe just say
what you're
maybe a
excited
little bit
about,
about what we're excited about to see at that specific time frame. Then afterwards, we're all going to go around the horn, which I still have not looked up what that means. So the mystery will continue.
I
till
bet it's
next
something
episode.
like
It's something really
awful,
dumb.
something
I bet.
like
Oh, it's like something like that involves like the Salem witch trials or
Yeah.
something like that, or like someone being murdered or something.
Auschwitz or something.
Oh God. Moving on. So yeah, then afterwards we're gonna go through maybe our biggest E3 disappointments, as well as maybe the one E3 moment that filled us with the most glee. So starting with the
Full glee.
schedule, Saturday there's only one conference. It's EA at 12:15 p.m. So originally I was looking forward to some footage for Beyond Good and Evil 2, and then I found out that there isn't going to be any new footage of Beyond Good and Evil 2. And then they released some stuff
Yeah, I was
about
gonna say,
Beyond
didn't
Good
they,
and
like,
Evil
just
Wait,
do
wait, wait.
something
Are you
today
talking
with
about
that?
EA?
I didn't watch it, but
Oh, that's Ubisoft.
Ubisoft,
Sorry. What
Yeah.
does EA have that I care about? Nothing?
Star
Probably
Wars.
nothing.
no, you have
Star
Apex.
Wars potentially.
Oh, the
They're
Apex
gonna
stuff.
do.
That's
yeah,
right.
That's what I'm excited about on Saturday. The 30-minute Apex presentation on season 2.
Star Wars,
New
too?
Oh, the
characters.
probably the last,
Yes.
not the last Jedi.
The first
Jedi
gameplay, yeah.
Fallen
I believe
Order.
That's what's
Fallen,
opening the
yes, Fallen
the
Jedi.
event.
Fallen Jedi.
Close.
Fallen Order.
Fallen Order Jedi.
Order of the Jedi that may or may not be the last of them. Whatever.
Yes.
Part 2. But yeah, no, Respawn has really been, hitting it out of the park with what they've developed. So I am looking forward to seeing what they do with that.
Yep.
Yeah, they're gonna have their normal treasure trove of sports games, Madden 58, soccer this, foot base, hawk that,
Foot base. Wow, all right.
basketball.
Foot base.
But yeah, Apex I'm really excited for because
just
we
inject
learned
that season
so
2 into me.
much about the season 2 battle pass that I'm wondering what more they could possibly tell us
They'll
about
probably
it.
talk about like the map changes. Hopefully that'll happen. They'll be talking.
Yeah.
I'm assuming they'll be releasing a new character on the launch day, so they'll probably reveal that character. And then I'm sure they were talking about those 2 to 3 new categories they have for items. So I'm sure they'll release all that information too.
Yeah, I'm not.
And the daily.
I'm
and
not
weekly
as
release, they'll
interested
probably
in
have more on that.
that whole category of item thing seems kind of gimmicky to me though.
I mean, I guess it depends what it is. I saw a screenshot.
Like the skins are already kind of garbage. Are they going to give me garbage hats now?
Well, I saw a screenshot, and I don't know if this is true or not, but there was like, you know how you have, so you can equip, a shield, a backpack. What else can you equip? Like a knockdown shield for when you get hit and you can block shots so your guy doesn't go down again. You can equip a backpack. You can equip.
Oh God.
What are those 4 things? There's 2 more that I can't
Helmet.
think of. Yeah, you can equip a helmet and a body shield. Yeah, exactly.
Oh God. Guys, we have to backtrack a little bit. I forgot to talk about something really important earlier.
Okay, just after I finish this one thing.
I'll let you finish your point.
So there's
first.
those 4 things where you're picking up throughout the game, like a shield, a helmet, a backpack, and a knockdown shield. And there's like apparently there's a 5th thing. So like I'm kind of interested that could change the whole game if there's a whole new like set of items that you have to collect. Maybe it could be a boot that makes you run faster.
Oh yeah, kind of
or-
like PUBG. You could collect the certain items that would. I mean, they wouldn't really. You could like the helmet, but the pan on the back, which the bullets could ricochet off of and stuff like that. So.
Oh,
Yeah, they could kind of do anything. So, and that would be like an actual effect on the game, not like a cosmetic. So,
I don't want that to change into pay to win, though.
I don't think it would be pay to win. I think it would just probably be something like on the map that you can just get. And,
Map specific items that you can
like
pick
a
up.
drop.
Okay,
the same way you
Okay,
pick up
that's
helmets of different ranks.
Oh,
and
that's
stuff.
another thing. Lifeline can drop legendary items now or gold items.
Okay.
she couldn't before.
No, only epic or below. Yeah, so you said shield, and that reminded me one other thing I forgot to say about Pokemon Sword and Shield earlier is they had the new legendaries at the end, and they looked
Yes.
like garbage. It was like a wolf with a shield and a wolf with a sword, and I just thought that was really dumb. The legendaries, I've always been kind of just like, oh, that's a thing now. Like, they've just been getting kind of weird over time, but like, I don't know. I just thought it looked kind of dumb.
Yeah, they all kind of blend together. Now that there's like almost 1,000 Pokemon, it's
Yeah,
just like,
but sorry, I just had to say it because I forgot about those. Those guys showed up at the end, and I just remember seeing like, oh, it's a wolf with a shield mane and a
You're
wolf.
getting this game, Matt?
the Pokemon one.
Yeah.
One of them was a
I was gonna
wolf
say, you seem
just
very unimpressed.
with a
I don't know.
sword
I
in
was
his
just
mouth.
game flying.
I'm not impressed, but I've been waiting for like a Pokemon console game for 20 years, and I mean they've made
Well, they have
console
one,
games, but like
technically.
Pokemon Snap and all those games, they don't really count as like a full-fledged Pokemon adventure. So I kind of just and every time a new Pokemon game comes out, I'm like, man, maybe I should get this and try it again. And I've done that like twice in the last 7-10 years, and both times I've been super disappointed. Like, oh, this is just the same game still. So this is the one time where they could actually change it up because it's on a console. So I'm kind of holding out hope. So I'm probably gonna have an angry rant that week after it comes out, but we'll see. Maybe it'll be awesome. I don't want to be too negative on it yet. I really don't know.
Yeah, I feel like I got Sun and Moon simply out of FOMO.
yeah, that's
fear
kind
of
of what
missing
happens
out.
to me. Like everyone else is getting it. I'm like, these games are still the same. They're not fun anymore. You can't be enjoying this. And then I play it. I'm like, there's
As
Not
much as they
fun.
were the same, I did generally enjoy playing them. It's gotten less and less appealing over time. Jumping back into E3 though, is there anything more that you're particularly looking forward to from EA, Dan? Aside
No,
from
just
the
I want to see
Star Wars game.
I want to see the Star Wars game. I want to see. I mean, it's Respawn.
They're like the new BioWare,
I mean, I hope so. I mean,
popping out quality content
after one
game
after
after
another.
game.
I mean,
They seem to care about, at least in their like main games, like they bothered to add a story into.
yeah, but I don't know why people. I mean,
what
yeah,
was
it
that?
was kind of pay to win Battlefront 2. I mean, well, EA in general, but
Yeah.
the monetary thing. So hopefully, EA's greedy hands will, lay
We'll
off
we'll
this
see.
game.
I mean, it's they've definitely touted it as a story-driven game.
That's what I'm
so-
hoping. I'm hoping for just a really good lightsaber.
Moving on to Sunday, 4 p.m. we have Microsoft, which
that'll be exciting.
this is probably the one I'm looking forward to.
This is the first time I've been
Second
excited
most.
about an Xbox event since like the Xbox One reveal is the last time I was excited about an Xbox
Yeah.
One press conference.
We have an Xbox 360 for you. It's called the Xbox 360.
Like, they are really like they've been buying up so many developers, and we haven't heard too much about what their next gen system's going to be. And like, aside from the Xbox SAD edition, like they've been really ramping up the future of the Xbox, and I'm actually very excited.
Yeah, like
I'm excited to see what they do.
there's so many questions about what could happen. Like are they going to release is there going to be some new huge Halo game push? Is there going to be? You've been hearing rumors about like they're going to bring back Fable and it's going to be really cool.
Oh yeah, Halo. There's probably going to be a Halo announcement. I've been hearing a lot of rumors.
Yeah,
about that.
there'll be more than just a tease now. There'll be
Yeah.
something. information.
Let's show you some pre-rendered footage that's not going to be in the final game.
And then on top of the fact that like they're gonna show more games than they've I guess ever shown at a press conference. There's always the possibility of like, are we gonna hear more about the next Xbox system? They could really take it to Sony by them not having the stage and just being like, hey, here's all of the information and it's coming out in the spring instead
well,
of the fall
that's why
of
I
next
think
year or something.
Sony is still going to interject into the E3 timeline somehow.
It's just
like
such
I think
a question mark.
do one of their like online things, but yeah, I'm just excited to see what Xbox brings to the table.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to see with Gears of War. It looks like they released like the cover art for Gears 5, and it looks like the female lead is going to be like the main character, which I think is a neat twist because I'm kind of sick of the friggin' frat boys that take over that game. So it's a nice change of pace.
Well, I mean, that was the game. They were all like these like
They were bros.
we're men.
Yeah,
Gears of War, play it now.
but I think it just had like, because it had the really good graphics, and it was just, we don't need a story. We have really good graphics, and it's a gory game. It's gonna sell. Now I think that they actually have kind of a gripping story, because they actually did make the last one. When people got hurt or whatever, you actually cared.
What about Gears of War Pops? You excited for that mobile game?
Oh God,
They've already like soft launched it in a couple regions, so it could be launched next week.
You're our mobile game guy. I didn't
You
even know
guys
that was
excited?
coming up.
no, I'll
How's that Command and Conquer working
I'll
out for
stick
you?
with
Look,
Hearthstone.
We've moved on from that, Andy. We're not going to talk about it.
How
We're
about
gonna
Diablo?
play-
Everyone's got phones, right?
That didn't even come out yet, right?
No, I
they've
know.
been dark on that for like
Yeah,
since
for
the
good reason. They're
announcement,
probably like,
but-
you know what, guys?
I'm pretty sure Gears of War was the first AAA game I played that made me realize I don't really always like AAA games.
Yeah,
Because it was
never got
fine,
me
but I'm
either.
like, you know what? I don't really see how this game differentiates itself from anything. Yeah, it's
It was because of the graphics.
violent.
It was just graphics.
I don't remember the graphics being too impressive, but
at
I
the
didn't.
time, that was
I
the-
didn't play it right when it came out. I also didn't play it on the PS3. I played it on the 360. I don't know if that was.
not.
Oh, it's an
it's
exclusive.
exclusive,
Duh. I'm a game journalist. Yeah, I just don't remember it wowing me in particular. Maybe because
The graphics wow me. I
I
mean,
don't know. I
story
could have
was-
been playing it on AV for all I know,
That's
though.
true. But yeah, no, that game was pretty impressive. When now they updated it and they made a Gears of War 1 like complete remaster,
Yeah.
and it looks really good.
Yeah, but if they hit it out of the park, this might be the first time where I make fun of myself for buying two systems.
Yeah, I mean, the multiplayer was
Because I always
kind of
make fun of
generic.
Dan for buying both systems. Not hardcore. Like I make fun of you for other things, but yeah, I do.
I mean, just like Matt, I like to be, I got the new, fresh system, and I like to be able to play. And typically with Xbox, that's
Yeah.
my secondary. I'll buy all the exclusives on it.
Well, I will say that 3 years ago, I would have said there's nothing for the Xbox to me to offer at all. They have barely
Xbox
any
One or-
Xbox One.
Okay, yeah.
I don't see any reason to buy two systems. PlayStation has all these exclusives, and that's what all my friends are playing on. Now I can say, well, I can play a crap ton of up-res 360 games on it now, which I think has a value. Like, I won't tout anyone for having both now. I just, at the time, I didn't see a reason to have both.
Yeah, no,
Now there's a decent reason.
there's definitely some hidden gems in the Xbox One's
few.
library. State of Decay was.
They didn't even
was
do
always,
Halo right last time, though.
No, they didn't. But there was definitely a few very like diamonds in the rough of like library.
Yeah.
Like there was basically a game. It's like Borderlands meets Tony Hawk, and it's called Sunset Overdrive.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, that was the first game that I was like, I kind of want to play that.
It's
For
fun.
Xbox.
It
Like
looks fun.
they give you points for like grinding on poles and like shooting zombies while doing it and hanging and from like the poles and jumping from building to building without touching the ground. So they kind of mixed that in. That was fun. State of Decay. So I'm hoping, like I said, with this new library of stuff, like I think we talked about it
They've
last week.
bought
Fable.
a lot of
Yeah.
developers.
But not only that,
like an
even-
insane amount.
Not only that, but just what they have, they had some quality stuff. Fable 4. I mean, that would get me if I saw the launch for Fable 4. It looks great. I'll probably go back and play Fable 3. It's backwards compatible, and
Yeah, I know my own girlfriend would be excited for that too.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, they better not
she's
make
a
me
huge
want an
fan.
Xbox One because I've been like, all right, I can hold out this generation and maybe they'll make me want a new
$100.
Xbox. But if they're like if they have a sweet new looking Fable game, which I never really got into those, or like a new fun Halo game or something
Well,
like that.
I can't see myself getting an Xbone, but I could definitely see myself getting a PS5 as well as whatever the next Xbox is.
Yeah, and
depending.
you know what? That's a good point because it'll be, I'm sure it'll be backwards compatible,
Yeah.
so I can just hopefully wait.
Knock on wood that it is.
Well,
So-
that's what they've been moving towards, but
Well, they've been moving towards digitally as well, so I'm hoping.
yeah, but that's
I'm
not
just
going
hoping.
over so well. I haven't looked at the Xbox SAD numbers, but I doubt they're very good.
But the
That'd be
other
funny
thing
if
too
they tried
is
the same thing with the Xbox One that they tried on the Xbox One again. Like, oh, there's not going to be any discs. You can't.
And then
trade.
PlayStation's going to have this PlayStation Direct where they're like, here's how you can let someone borrow a
Here's
used
a video
game.
from 6
was
years ago.
one of the greatest videos I have ever seen on YouTube.
Moving on that Sunday, Bethesda at 8:30.
The most underwhelming, sadly. I am just so But what are they going?
What's gonna happen? Yeah,
I think
Nothing.
they're probably just going to...
Fallout 76 is officially dead. Yeah.
well, or they're going to
I think they've already confirmed that Starfield and the new Elder Scrolls are not going to be there.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like,
yeah.
it's going to be Doom Eternal, which that's great and all, but it's just basically Doom. It's just
Doom
Doom
is
add-on.
awesome.
That's all it is, which is great.
I was
but
hoping that they were going to come out, Todd was going to come out and basically say, I'm sorry, we're sorry, we're fixing it, and they were just going to like show us all of the stuff that they were going to fix. But he had an interview with IGN this past week, and it seems like he almost clearly admitted that, yeah, like
they knew there was going to be bumps on the road with Fallout 76.
we knew that it wasn't going to be like a high Metacritic scoring game or anything, or like he was quoted in saying like they were asking about the horse armor thing.
Oh, people
and
will buy anything.
People will buy anything, and it's just like, man, but
This
that's
is the type of stuff you're supposed to keep in house.
like Fallout 4 I loved, but Bethesda over the past year has just like forced me to not like them.
Yeah, he also said that he likes the direction that the game's going to be going in. So I'm kind of hoping maybe at E3 there'll be like some big announcement and there'll be some big
Yeah.
changes, like a reboot, kind of like with Final Fantasy 14 did a nice reboot and had this amazing second birth.
Final Fantasy 14 and No Man's Sky both prove
Yeah.
that bad games can turn into good games, but they've had a year. Well, not a year. No, when did it launch? November?
Yeah,
November. And since November, nothing has improved.
I'm just wondering like how they could get more people in that game. The only thing I can think of would be like it'd be kind of cool if they were like today it's free. Like we'll have those dumb microtransactions in it, but it's free for everyone, and that might be kind of
Yeah,
fun
I
if
mean-
everyone can get into it with no barrier to
Yeah.
entry.
I mean,
wanted
if,
to make an offline mode.
Well,
so
I was
when I
gonna
build
say-
something and they do, so they can't destroy it, I'm not going to put all my effort into the
has
game.
that happened to you in the game?
No. Well, no, but people can, and I immediately, just like in Breath of the Wild, when it comes to like, oh, I'm going to go out and find this weapon. Well, it's just going to break, so that just it doesn't make me excited to go do it. It kills my.
At least you didn't have to make the weapon to your like specific standards, though. Like making like an entire like I imagine the stuff I made in Fallout 4. If people could destroy that, I'd be pretty pissed.
Yeah, how pissed would you be? You not only that, you work hard towards it. So if you're able to play it offline, you can build your own base. That's essentially what No Man's Sky is. No Man's Sky is you're all by yourself, but you have base building equipment, and you can I don't know if I don't think they have vehicles in Fallout 76, but or the Fallout series in general. But I just think it would be a neat thing that you could do, and that's why I bought it, hoping that there would be mods. Like I'm sure at some point they'll be able to rip it off the internet, like
Yeah.
so you don't need it, and then you can build it by yourself, because then it would be fun.
But yeah, like that's aside from that and Doom, I don't know what else they could really be showing. They
That's why
they need to save face and hit it out of the park with Fallout 76 at this E3, or no one's gonna play. And then
they're not going to knock it out of the park with 76. They need to sell Doom. They need to sell Doom, and they need to get people excited. Potentially show.
Yeah, but if they still want Fallout 76 to be a thing in the future, they need to hit it out of the park.
I think they're going to give up on it, kind of like Anthem. BioWare seems to just give up on it on Anthem.
Well, I mean, E3, yeah, EA's still working on it, but like, yeah, their whole roadmap is scrapped.
I think that.
Oh, yeah, that's another thing we forgot to talk about with EA. I wonder
Yeah,
if
they
Anthem's
scrapped
going to
their-
be there at all.
Yeah.
Because they scrapped their entire roadmap. I wonder if they're just
I
going
don't
to
think
kind
it's
of
on the
like
schedule.
They probably just realized they're not making enough
sweep
money.
it under the rug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, that's unfortunate. Maybe they'll try to like have
They make an offline mode, I'll buy it. But other than that, not touching it.
with Anthem.
Yep.
Oh God, what? There's nothing to do.
Dan hates
What would
the
that
internet.
matter?
No, I just hate a constant.
Well, no, but
and I also thought
Anthem's a bad game regardless. It doesn't matter if it's online or not. There's nothing to do. Also, that game is all about like that game wouldn't really work offline. There'd be nothing to do. It's all about working with people to do stuff. Fallout 76 could work perfectly fine offline. I don't know.
Is it really?
Oh,
Just from what I saw, it looked
Anthem-
like you could fly around with Anthem, and like I said, I didn't get a lot.
Anthem is kind of like Destiny, where if there's no other people playing with you in the world, it's kind of pointless.
Oh, that sucks. Because Destiny sounds like a really cool story. That's one of those games I was hoping eventually went offline so I could just know what the story is.
That's all about artist direction, though. Like, if I know that before I go into the game, if that's the direction is they really want you to play with people in a community, I'm fine with that.
It's essentially an MMO.
It's still not for me. I'm just saying I'm fine with that. Fallout 76 seems like it could have easily been a one-player game, and they just decided to make it multiplayer for whatever reason. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see what Bethesda does. They have the 8:30 time slot on Sunday, and then at 10 o'clock is Devolver Digital, which I had to look up, like, who's Devolver Digital?
Yeah,
So
not a lot I'm excited about there.
Wait,
but
they had a satirical press conference at E3 2017. They're mostly known for the Serious Sam series.
Ew.
It's
Hotline
kind of
Miami.
they had
It's
like,
a Duke Nukem ripoff kind of thing.
they had a fake 20 minute 20 minute like video that was kind of a fake press conference at E3 2017. Like, it was all satirical. Like, it was just a funny thing they did. Like a fake press conference. So it's not like a real, like, hey, we're announcing all these games type thing. It's kind of probably just going to be like another funny whatever. So it's
maybe a new IP.
maybe. They didn't even announce any games at their last one, though.
Yeah.
Like, I think they were just doing it to make fun of E3. Like, they weren't really
A
like,
lot of money to just make fun of someone.
well, they just put on a video
Oh,
last time. Like, they weren't like, I don't know. I don't know. I didn't even know who they were
no,
before I looked at the schedule. I'm like, who's Devolver Digital? Then on Monday, there's going to be the PC gaming show at 1. I don't know if that's necessarily a lot of PC developers coming out, or
pretty
if
much.
that's just kind of like the Nintendo Treehouse thing where they're just like, I don't know if that's an actual like show. Well, I mean, it's called the show, but I don't know what that entails. I don't know if it's like a specific amount of
I don't know
developers.
if they had one last year. Like, I'm not super into PC gaming. Like, I don't keep tabs on it, so I'm not really familiar with that show. And I mean, because you usually hear from the publishers themselves, not just like generic PC.
no. I figured it'd be Steam or something like heading it, or
No, Valve hasn't had
Valve,
a
yeah.
Steam conference. Valve hasn't done an E3 conference. Have they ever done an E3 conference, Valve?
Not that I'm
I
aware
mean, I
of.
heard that they were making games again, but like I haven't seen any actual spoils from that, so who knows about that. But yeah, I'm assuming it's just going to be a slew of different PC-only developers. There was a few developers at PAX East that I really liked that were PC-only games, so maybe they're going to be showing off some of that stuff. Also Monday at 4 p.m. is Ubisoft. This is where Beyond Good and Evil 2 would be. Not at the EA one, like I said earlier. So
Yeah, this one should be good.
yeah, originally I was excited for some Beyond Good and Evil 2 because we haven't heard anything in a while, and then I found out that they weren't going to be there. And then they released some stuff anyways, and then I read more about the game, and now I don't really want it anymore.
no.
So-
Why
I
don't you?
know, I
want it
haven't seen
anymore?
anything about this, but I'd never played the first one, so why
I
don't you want
did,
to play
and
the
this
second
is nothing like what Beyond Good and Evil was. This is
one?
more of a multiplayer co-op focused game. Like
Is it still like a story, or
Release your anger.
well, no. So Dan mentioned that it was DRM, which I thought was really weird because Beyond Good and Evil was a very like story-driven single-player experience. I'm like, well, why would that be DRM? That doesn't make any sense. Like, that would be like making Assassin's Creed Odyssey DRM. Like, that would make no
don't
sense.
want that to
That would make no sense. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to look into this a little more. And I was reading up more about it. And it seems like it's going to be very much a multiplayer. It's a prequel to the first game. And it seems like it's going to be more of a multiplayer-esque experience. And that's just not what I was looking at of that. Now, I'm fine with games being DRM if they are multiplayer based. Like, what's that? Ghost Recon coming out. That's really being touted as more of a co-op multiplayer-ish game. That's the point of you playing that game. I'm like, that's fine. It's not something I'm gonna care about 10 years down the road. Because we all know any multiplayer game servers eventually shut down. And I know that's Dan's real worry when it comes to specifically single-player games. So if there was a single-player game, a single-player campaign, and the multiplayer portion didn't garner enough action, I would be worried that a year from now they would shut down the servers and I wouldn't be able to play the game at all, because that has happened with a few multiplayer games in recent years. Didn't that happen to Evolve pretty quickly?
I don't know.
I'm not sure if that's down or what happened. I mean, people stopped playing it, so I'm sure it would be hard to find a match. Happens to MMOs all the time online.
Yeah.
The guy that made Gears of War, I think his name Cliff something,
Blazinski?
Yeah. He made an online only game, like multiplayer thing, and it died like within like 2 months or something like that. So it's just unfortunate. And if you really liked it, that
like
sucks.
something like, what's a good example? Like Apex, obviously that is a multiplayer game. Like,
Yeah, there's no reason
online only.
See, that's what I mean.
But
Like Hearthstone is a
Wow.
multiplayer card game. I get it.
Now, here's the thing. Going back to what I was saying about Anthem and Destiny, the thing that turned me off of those games was, aside from the fact that they didn't look very good or fun,
Anthem,
although
really didn't look good. It looked
Destiny
good to
was
me.
fun.
Yeah, no. Destiny just wasn't for me in the end. Anthem like you could fly around, but it just looked like Destiny again, which I already kind of played and did
Like a giant tech demo, basically.
Yeah, and it was just the whole matter of it was more about doing the raids, multiplayer raids, and that kind of stuff. And I'm more of a PvP more than a PvE person, and there was like lacking in content with the story and stuff like that. And if that's what this game is going to be, this Beyond Good and Evil 2 game is going to be, where it's more about just co-oping against PvE enemies, and it's going to be like light on the story like Anthem and Destiny were, at least Destiny at the beginning. I know the expansions have fixed a lot of those issues from what I've heard from people who play it. But if that's what's going to be, it's not really for me. You know, I'm looking for more of a single, like, I know the games I buy specifically for multiplayer experience. I know the games I buy for a single player experience. This is a game I would be buying for a single player experience. That being said, if it comes out and it's like it looks fun or looks good, I'll probably still try it, but I'm not going to enjoy it as a Beyond Good and Evil sequel or prequel. I'm just going to enjoy it as kind of its own thing.
Well, that's why I was
Probably.
frustrated with Ghost Recon, because they made the first one, Wildlands, with no online requirement, and then they just decided for the second one, oh yeah, we'll just throw it in, because you can play it by yourself. That's what I did. I played the whole thing by myself.
But again, I think that's because they are making that game as a co-op experience.
Yeah, I'm excited about that.
Though.
Like,
I think
See,
it'll be
that's
nice.
the difference.
But that's what I'm saying, is you could still play the campaign by yourself, and then if someone jumped in, that's fine.
with with Wildlands, but I think the new one they're pushing more of a
Breakpoint.
co-op. Like that's just their vision for the game. You know?
Yeah, but I
Like
still don't understand why I can't play it by myself offline. I don't.
Dan
what
still
I'm
hates
saying.
the internet.
Well, no. What I'm saying
don't.
is kind of like Destiny or Anthem. I think it's probably going to be one of those games where it's just not fun to play by yourself.
Yeah, I'm
No, but
excited
it's
to play
the
better.
same thing.
It'll be
It's
nice
just
to be
another
on the
open-
ground floor. Like the other one, I didn't really get into until 6-9 months after it came out. So everything, no one else was playing it, and there was way too much to do, so I didn't know what to do. But
Which one's this?
Wildlands, when I first played it,
Yeah.
because I played it after it was out. But this one, like, I'm excited to actually kind of get in on the ground floor, like day one, when everyone still doesn't know what's going on and what the story is and like how to do anything. And there's so many people playing that you can get a mission, a group of people
Like
to do
Wildlands,
any
you
mission.
could clearly play by yourself.
They're the same thing.
Do we know that? I mean, we did.
Everything looked the same. I've beaten Wildlands. I beat the whole thing. It's the same type of thing. That's why I don't. It's like Metal Gear Solid 5. You can. It's a huge open world. You don't need other people. That's why I was so frustrated with it. I really enjoyed the story of the.
I
the
mean, if
Bolivian,
that's true and playing it
But that's
single
what-
player
that's-
doesn't, you can just do
you
it.
don't
It doesn't
need it,
do
and
anything.
I don't like playing sneaky games with three other people. If it's like like World War Z type of thing, yeah, I can understand where you need 4 people. But I want to play this by myself. I want to be sneaky,
Yeah.
and when it comes to a sneaky game, it's really hard for a team of 4 to all be in sync. We're not all Navy SEALs.
And I don't want this to be like a half an hour thing we do.
No,
every
no,
week,
but-
since
but-
we have. But,
but-
all I'm saying
yeah.
is with Beyond Good and Evil 2, it was kind of a similar situation
Yeah.
where I'm looking for a single player campaign. They're obviously not going that way. I don't want to have a single player campaign that I really enjoy if it's going to be connected to a server and I can't play it someday.
Your thing is exactly my fight
No,
against
I know, and I
Ghost
agree.
Recon, and that's why
But Ghost
I'm-
Recon, I don't want to buy it to play it single player. That's why I
See,
don't
that's-
care about that.
But see, that's what I want.
Anything else from Ubisoft that
yeah,
we're
there's
Watch Dogs
couple.
Legion.
Oh, that's right, Watch Dogs
Watch
Legion.
Dogs,
That was
yeah.
like that.
Has-
Is that again? Gonna
It's official. It's official because they Twitter
That-
account.
It leaked this week, and then they
Yes.
kind of like confirmed it basically.
So that seemed like a really weird concept that they're going with here.
People seem to like it. Like it's
Explain.
you can essentially be any NPC in the game. Like you can basically seems like you can kind of either recruit or take them over in some way, and you can play as that NPC. And it from what I've heard is that you can like each of these all of the NPCs in the games you can play as, and they all have their kind of different stories basically and different interactions with other people. And that sounds cool on paper, but I'm kind of nervous as a person that really enjoys the Watch Dogs games if that can even be done, because it kind of reminds me of those, and I feel like this happened a lot in the early 2000s when they were like, and we have procedurally generated maps, so you can play 1,000 different maps, or there's like
But they're the
20,000 maps,
same thing,
but it's just like
essentially.
7 different random rooms
Yeah.
that it can basically be. So that's what I'm thinking. Like
I
these are
don't
gonna
trust that Ubisoft did separate animations for
yeah,
all their
so these are all going to be.
No,
what is it going to be like?
there's
7
gotta
different
be
voice
some-
lines, and there's going to be like 5 different inflections of like, and it's going to be every quest with like, oh, here's the same, 6 people saying the same lines, but maybe there's like a word or two different. So then none of the characters feel fully fleshed out and like unique because they all kind of have to fit into these different cube boxes. So it's like they're all just a bunch of cubes. They're not like different individual people. So I'm
Well,
kind
I'm
of
also
worried about that.
I'm
but-
also worried because it's Legion. I'm worried that this one is going to be online as well, because Legion talks about multiple people and they talk about all these NPCs.
Well, I
they're
think you're
going to
building your legion through the NPCs.
Well, that's what I'm.
London should be fun too. It'd be like nice
It's.
to
I
play,
mean, I
you know,
hope they
set
have
in
a
London.
main protagonist. Maybe somebody like a main hub. Like they.
Well, I'm assuming if they're talking about NPCs, that doesn't have anything to do with like other players online, though.
Yeah.
No, I hope not. But I mean, Ubisoft
Maybe
has
there's only going to be 6 NPCs in London. There's only 7 people in the entire city. So
Brexit really.
technically, we're correct.
Yeah, Brexit screwed it up.
Yeah, I
really.
am
No.
interested. Watch Dogs was always one of those games, again, like just because of kind of how I got back into gaming over time. Just one of those franchises I never really got into, but always looked really interesting. So it's going to be nice to kind of play this one kind of from the ground floor, kind of
Yeah,
like
yeah.
how you were talking about Ghost Recon.
You should really try Watch Dogs and put that in the queue.
No,
Watch
I
Dogs
do
2.
too. I do want to play that.
Watch Dogs 2, I think I talked about it before, but the
they're
story
both
and the
good.
characters were actually really cool. You actually felt like a hacker crew. So, like I said, I really enjoyed it. It was pretty memorable for me.
So
Yeah.
the last thing from Ubisoft I'm actually kind of more interested than excited about is their Ubisoft like pass that got leaked. So there was a screenshot that got leaked, I think, on PlayStation or Xbox for like a Ubisoft pass, like Elite Pass, kind of presumably similar to what EA does, where you can pay $100 or $100 a year or $15 a month and have access to their entire catalog. And I tried that with Anthem for $15, and I was like, this game is not very fun, and I wasn't really into a lot of the other EA games, so it didn't work out, and I just canceled it. But with Ubisoft, they might be at the point where they're my kind of favorite, publisher of games. Like I love, we've just been talking about Watch Dogs. I'm looking forward to Ghost Recon. I love the new Assassin's Creed games finally, and I think like it could be a really good deal. So I'm excited to hear about more of that and see if instead of just buying Ghost Recon, I could just pay $100 and get that, and maybe the next Splinter Cell, maybe Watch Dogs, all next year for the same amount of money.
Here's how I know Ubisoft can't do NPCs correctly. Andy was playing Assassin's Creed 2 one time. That's me, and I'm Andy. I was talking in the third person. I was playing Assassin's Creed 2 one time, and I went down. One of my favorite games. I love Assassin's Creed 2. I ended up going down to this like little gully area, some area in Venice where I was like in the catacombs or whatever, and some NPCs had fallen off the railing or whatever above me, and they landed down where I was. It was like an older lady in this like cloth, and then this like older gentleman like really brown clothing, basic NPCs. And then I saw them get back to the main road by doing the same moves that I would do as an assassin, where they were parkouring up the
Nice.
walls and climbing around, all this stuff. I'm just sitting here watching them like, wait, did they just program the assassin moves into every single NPC in the game just in case?
We're not
this
in our
would happen?
predetermined spot. How do we get? We must get back at all costs.
I'm like
I've been
seeing-
training my whole life for this.
I'm like seeing them crawl up the walls as if I was them climbing up the walls, and I'm like, well, I thought I was a
sounds
special
great.
trained assassin, and look at this, any
Anybody
Joe
can do it.
Schmo can do it. But yeah, Ubisoft, I'm not really looking to anything in particular. I guess Watch Dogs would be the only thing I'm really looking forward to seeing now that it's piqued my interest. But
Maybe a new IP. Maybe
I'm much
one
more
else, too.
interested later that night when Square Enix takes over.
Yeah,
and
but
they
what are they
take
gonna
over.
have?
Oh,
Garbage could Square Enix have.
They might
Kingdom
have
Hearts 4. No.
Yeah, Kingdom Hearts 4. Watch them like not show up with Final Fantasy VII. It was all a big gag. It was a tech demo for PS4.
They promised more information in June, although they could technically be like, oh, we meant June 30th.
So Square Enix is at 9. I don't care about whatever other garbage they're making, just Final Fantasy VII. There's actually, you know what? Square Enix is one of those weird developers where every time I think of them, I only think of the Final Fantasy series, and then they randomly develop these other games, and I never find out it's Square.
Deus Ex?
Tomb Raider. And...
Yeah, like I never know that those are made by Square Enix until after they come out, and I'm like, oh, it's a Square game. So they might surprise me with something else.
Dying Light, isn't that
That sounds
a
right,
Square?
but I don't know for sure.
I think Dying Light 2 is Square Enix, but
I'd like to see a new Final Fantasy MMO after like 14 finally got good. It'd be nice to see like a new start from scratch.
A few friends of mine play 14 and they really enjoy it. I just don't have the time to play an MMO right now.
Yeah, it's a sink.
Like Apex is taking up that kind of like that. I have like
are
a
you playing
certain
an MMO right now? Dauntless.
That's like that's an MMO light. That's not really an
MMO light.
That's just like a
like
game.
I have a certain section of my
just a
gaming
game.
brain that's kind of that extra space for like that ongoing game, and Apex takes up that spot right now, and I just can only have so many of those types of games. So if I let in something like an FF14, Apex would get kicked out. It's like when you only have a certain amount of room in your brain for math, and like you learn something new about science, and like math just pours out, like you lose that ability. So
Yeah,
I
it'd be
can only have
interesting
so
to
many of
see.
those games. But yes, Final Fantasy VII, show me more, show me everything.
Don't show me anything. Just show me a release date. I just
Yes.
want to know if it's coming out. Hopefully at the beginning of next year. That's like probably the earliest we would get it. I would imagine. But
I mean, I guess I am getting it regardless. I really don't need to see anything. But like, I would like to see a little more about how they're going to handle the characterization of Cloud and some of the other characters in the game. I'd like to see a little bit more about the fighting system, although it looks pretty much like it's the FF15
15, yeah.
final fighting
Combat,
system.
yeah.
So. And I guess actually I don't want to know a lot because they probably are changing a lot about the story, and I would rather be surprised
my
about
one concern
that.
is that it might be too short. If they're doing it episodically and they don't change enough, like it could be like, oh, you're 15 hours into the game and that's the end of episode 1, and you'll be super disappointed.
Yeah, but then there's still more to come.
That's true.
I'm just excited.
And it might be a 6-month schedule. Like the game might be 50%
mostly done.
complete, and at that point, hey, well,
This is a conversation for a different day about what our favorite games are, but that's been my favorite game since I was 10 years old. And I don't necessarily know if that's true or not anymore, but I don't know if I would have gotten giddy about any other game being remade. So that probably still holds true. That's just kind of like an internal reflection thing. Like, is that still my favorite game? And I mean, it's just kind of nice to know every now and then that it still is. Then the only other people that are going to be doing a conference at E3 is on Tuesday. There's going to be the Nintendo Direct, which from the rumors I'm seeing, there's going to be some new Smash Brothers characters. I've been hearing some rumblings of maybe Banjo-Kazooie being in it, which would make sense because
I thought you were gonna say Banjo-Kazooie game. I was like, oh.
well, I would love that too.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Xbox has Rare. They could surprise us with a Banjo-Kazooie game that's not nuts and bolts.
Nuts and Bolts was great, but was not really a Banjo-Kazooie
You could tell
game.
that it was supposed to not be nuts and bolts, though. Like, there are certain platforms in the game where you're like, well, I can't get to that, but I bet if I wasn't in this car, I could have. So yeah, there's probably going to be a little like, they've kind of blown their load on a few things lately with Nintendo Directs. Like they already got Pokemon out of the way. That's probably not going to be at E3. They did a Nintendo Direct. Didn't they do another one recently where they were looking at something else?
Super Mario Maker.
That's right. They did the
Yes.
Super Mario Maker one. So I'm assuming that,
I bet it'll be heavy on Animal Crossing.
yeah, Animal Crossing, which I'm looking forward to. I haven't.
Metroid Prime stuff.
Well, I was about to say I'm hoping that they finally.
That might be still too far away now.
Well,
that
no.
delayed
The
it.
trilogy,
Oh yeah.
Anything Metroid.
because
would
they've
be
had
cool.
that in the chamber for a while.
I'm hoping that.
I've
yeah.
never played with the first-person Metroid game, so this would be a definite.
Yeah,
sell
those would
for
be
me.
nice. That'd be a nice get. I'd also like to see more about the new Luigi's Mansion
Oh,
game.
that's right.
I'm hoping that comes out this year.
Yeah, I think it's pretty much set for this year.
Oh, some more from Link's Awakening too. Some more footage of that.
Oh, yeah,
Maybe a
that
little
could-
more about
that's
the
a definite, yeah.
content, and maybe even if they're going to be porting some of those HD remakes from the Wii U over to Switch of Twilight Princess and Wind Waker, or even they're finally going to do a remake of Skyward Sword. Since it's not like I just played through the entire game or anything like that.
Or what about a whole new Zelda game? I wonder if they're gonna have a new one of those for Switch.
They're working on it.
Because
Yeah, It's too early in production.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, the first one came out on launch day, and I bet they had that done for like a year and a half because it was supposed to be a Wii U game.
So Zelda games, the mainstay Zelda games come out about every 5 to 6 years. So the next one, well, yeah, I guess the next one would be coming out around 2020, 2021. But you got to also think that they were making the DLC for Breath of the Wild after it came out too. Right now they've been hiring or putting out at one point job openings for like level designers and dungeon designers. So yeah, I'm sure they've been hard at work on it. But yeah, you're right. They usually have been working on those things long.
Yeah.
Because Skyward Sword was 2011, and then Breath of the Wild was 2015, because that was when... Was it 2015 when the Switch launched? Or 2017?
I bet it was 2017.
Which one?
Oh, all right. So the next Zelda game probably wouldn't be coming out until 2022 or 23. I had my math all wrong. I thought the
Gross.
Switch came out in 2015. It didn't.
No, it did not.
So yeah, Skyward Sword came out in 2011. Breath of the Wild was 2017. That was a 6-year gap. So the next one would probably minimum 2022, 2023. So I wouldn't expect anything from that.
It came out in early 2017.
Well, it did come out in early 2017. You are right, Matt. But if there was going to be anything, it would probably be like a middle of the road Zelda game that they would do, which I think would be Link's Awakening, and not to mention Cadence of Hyrule, which is kind of a third party game with some Zelda characters thrown in.
Oh,
But
yes. Right.
yeah, I would love
heard of
an Animal Crossing release date. I would also like them to maybe do something different with the franchise, because that got stale for me too. Moving on. It's a long show.
This
but
is the longest show we've
this
ever
is
had.
probably the longest show we've ever had. But so really quickly, let's go over our. We'll start with our biggest E3 disappointments.
Yay.
It's personally for me, I have not until the past maybe 3 or 4 years been really big into watching E3. Now, I know all of the garbage that happened prior and all the awesome things that happened prior, because I would watch the highlights on YouTube over the years. But I made an effort to get back into gaming in 2014. I actually owe a lot of that to Dan. Dan kind of steered the ship for me on how I could do that. And he was also kind of keeping me up to speed as the years went on, back when I just didn't have the funds for gaming. But so I didn't start getting back into the E3s until the E3 2015. So I have 15, 16, 17, and 18 under my belt as far as ones that I could actually pick. And I was thinking of all of the E3 conferences that I watched that were disappointing. And the one that keeps just coming up in my mind was last year's Bethesda. And, not only for what it was on its own, but for what came to light afterwards.
Yeah,
because
what about
everything
that?
they said about Fallout 76 was completely wrong. Not to mention, the one thing I was looking forward to was, well, they said there was going to be a beta. So, because I had the collector's edition pre-ordered at one point, and I canceled it. And then I had the regular edition pre-ordered, and I canceled it because the game got closer to launch, and the beta just wasn't coming out. I'm like, I am not playing this thing without a beta. And sure enough, it came out, and it was nothing like what they said it was going to be. Not to mention all the other weird stuff they had at that conference. Like, I think the teleprompter went out at one point. So they had these like guys talking about Rage 2, but they didn't have a teleprompter, and it was just really, really awkward just watching them stand there. And they had that rock band. And then to top it all off, there was 2 games that they've been talking. Well, there was one game they've been talking about for a while, and another game they announced, and they had just title cards for both. And it was the new Elder Scrolls coming out. They just had a title card for it. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt on that. They probably just started working on it, for all I know, because they were too busy remastering Elder Scrolls Skyrim for like the 18th time.
Yeah.
But Starfield they've been talking about for a while. I was looking for a little more than like, hey, it's space. There's the title. Bye. Like, I understand Fallout
Probably won't
76.
get any more today or next week.
I understand Fallout 76 was their main focus, but I remember the E3 when they had Fallout 4, and that was a huge deal, and that was really exciting, and the game came out, and it was awesome, and it was just the complete opposite this time. I was actually pretty excited when they announced it, but the more I looked into the game, the less excited I became.
Yeah.
And then I didn't even end up getting it.
Yeah, someone that didn't even like the good Fallout games, I was not impressed with the...
Yeah, so that was pretty
76
disappointing
stuff.
because Bethesda is one of those few developers that I really like, and I was looking forward to what they were going to have because we all knew Fallout 76 was going to be there. We just didn't know what it was going to be, and, well, we all know what it is now. And it's, crap. So that was disappointing for me. I know you were very disappointed after that one too, mostly because Fallout 76 was an online only game, and
What's it? Yeah, it was just it was changing the style of game, and yeah, actually,
Yeah.
76 was going to be my disappointment, my biggest disappointment, because
it
of
could
just
still be yours.
well, it is. It's my biggest disappointment
Continue.
only because I Fallout 4 set such a huge bar for me, and that actually was my most exciting E3 moment
With a ton of story DLC.
well, at the time when they were just announcing it, it was the idea that it was in Boston. You are going to be able to go to a desecrated Fenway Park. You are going to be able to run around towns that I grew up in eastern Massachusetts. You know, Concord and some outskirts of Framingham. With right where we work, Andy, is right
Let's
the
not
river.
divulge too much information about where we work or where we live or who we are to the people listening who don't know that.
I'm talking about where
They had specific locations in
Yes,
Boston
that
that
we-
were there in real life that are also there in the game, and it was really neat to see all of that stuff. Diamond City was really I loved the game. I loved everything about that game.
Well, just the announcement too was because it kind of like your Final Fantasy. This game was always in talks, and it never really came to fruition. Like it never really took hold, and then finally,
Was it that there were rumors of Fallout 4 that never happened, or were they just always kind of working on it in the background but just never had any news about it?
they did? I think it was that they were working on it, but they just didn't have any news. And this was the first official announcement. Even when it was coming out, just like when 76, it was like, all right, we think it's going to be a Fallout game, but maybe it's just a remake or whatever. And then it ended up being a new game. So same thing with Fallout 4. This is a big thing. And I played Fallout 3 and I played Fallout New Vegas, and I liked it, but it was just a little janky for me because I played it years later. But I knew it had such potential to be this amazing game, and lo and behold, it's Fallout 4. The collector's edition was awesome with the Pip-Boy edition. Same day they announced that Fallout Shelter game, which was really addicting,
Really fun for a
it was
free
really
game.
fun for free for a while. And then they started adding little things to it, but unfortunately, it ran kind of crappy. As they added stuff on, it started to run kind of weird.
I think that depends on I think that's just an older phone thing.
No,
'Cause,
well, I mean,
it was
even-
running bad on my old phone and it runs fine on my new one.
No,
so.
well, I still had that issue whenever you would play the game and you would go to a new mission. You'd have to exit the entire app and come back in, and then it would load the mission.
Oh, yeah.
That part. But other than that, but it was just a bombardment of just Fallout goodness. It was just everything I wanted in a Fallout game, or in just a video game in general. There's customization. There's the power armor. There's, there's the, roaming around the neighborhood I grew up in, at Fenway Park. It was just so many things that hit the check boxes for me and then just to top everything off, it was they announced it and it was only 6 months to go.
Yeah, that's
which
kinda
was
cool. I like the short release date launches.
I do like that trend that people are going in where it's
Yeah,
like,
you can
oh
get
hey,
games that are
the game's
7 years
pretty much
off.
the game's
Yeah.
pretty much
They
done.
did it with Fallout 76 as well. It was just the opposite product.
Yeah,
Where it was like, hey, it's coming out this November.
and it's garbage.
It should have come out 3 years from now.
Cool.
Yeah, but no, I can understand because you were even a bigger Fallout fan than I was. I was late to the Fallout party. Leading up to the release of 4, I decided to finally go back and play through 3. And I thoroughly enjoyed that. And then Fallout 4, I love that game. I can't get enough of it. But what was your biggest disappointment, Matt?
So I was going to go with the kind of cheap, easy answer, which is E3 2013, the release of the Xbox One. the reveal.
Yep.
Don Matrick coming on there saying, saying it has to be online all the time, that you can't
Check-ins.
you can't trade in your games to video game stores or anything like that. The convoluted process that it was required to trade or sell a game is this 10-step program that Sony poked fun at. When someone
Sony poking fun at that was great.
yeah, having to play this probably made Dan furious. Having to play literally any single-player game, you have to be connected to online, and having the CEO at the time, Don Matrick, replying to a question, "What would you do if you didn't have a good internet connection?" Maybe you're fighting in a war overseas, and this is the one thing you have to do for fun on the base or something like that. And his answer is, we have a system for that. It's called the Xbox 360.
Worst answer he possibly could have.
This is coming off of the Xbox 360. I was always a PlayStation guy. I bought the first two, and then I switched over to Xbox because it was just a much better system. It had like Halo. It had much better internet.
I did the same thing.
Yeah, so
Xbox Live,
I
yeah.
feel like a lot of people did that. And then, I mean, this kind of feels like one of those things where, like, I'm not that smart. I'm not a developer for a company. I don't know how that works, but I can't imagine working in that company for the Xbox division and having someone say that and not raise up my hands and scream and be like, we can't do this. There's 20 things that are wrong with this. You're going to lose hundreds of millions of dollars. It kind of reminds me of that Simpsons episode where like Homer was making that new car.
Oh my god, yeah.
And then all the scientists were going up to the the CEO guy and being like, this is not a good idea. This is awful. And him going, we're just gonna listen to him. Just do what he says. Like, I feel like Don Matrick is the Homer of video game consoles, where someone should have been stopping this. Yeah,
They
Oh,
thought
it's humorous in a bad
no
way.
hubris.
Oh, hubris. I thought it was
So here's the thing: they made the same mistake that Sony did the previous
Yeah, they thought
generation.
they were
Sony,
awesome.
yes, Sony thought they were on top of the world, which the PS2 they
Was.
were on top of the world, and then they're like,
can do what we want.
Here's the most
We'll buy it."
expensive thing with these 18 USB ports that you don't need, and all this garbage that you don't need in a thing. And granted, backwards compatibility was cool, but they thought they
ugly
were
looking,
untouchable.
and a really ugly looking
And that
system,
really never
too.
got better. That was kind of ugly
the
to the end.
second generation I actually liked the best. The third one with the sliding top, I was like, oh,
Yeah,
yeah, it
so
looked kind of
weird.
cheap and plastic.
But yeah, that's what they did with the Xbox, and because the PS3 gained back some of that market by the end of that generation,
Well, they
it
had-
kind of evened out a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, they at least had like fun games to play. Like, I was always, because I had an Xbox, so I missed out on PlayStation 3. But I was always bummed about games like the Metal Gear Solid 4 that came out, and there were some other ones that I wanted
Yeah.
for PlayStation 3 that I could never
Dark.
play.
Oh no, you're not the Dark Souls,
But-
Demon Souls guy.
But I really never felt that way about Xbox One. I've never felt like, I'm missing out on these games. Like I was saying earlier, Sunset Overdrive, that would have been fun to play. But I was never
Yeah.
like, darn it, this game, I can't play the new best Metal Gear or Final Fantasy or some
Yeah.
fun game like that. So
Like
there's
Microsoft,
really no reason for me
like
to get it ever.
there was a few reasons why I switched back to PlayStation. The reason I got a 360 in the first place, aside from the fact that it was a little cheaper, was it had Halo. It had the Halo franchise, and that was when Halo was like king of the world. And then by the time Halo 4 came out, like Microsoft owned it now, and it was just not as good. So like the one thing that they kind of had their hook in me for was gone. So like, yeah, I can understand why that was disappointing. I remember when that happened. That was before I even got into this console generation. I'm like, oh well, I guess
Yeah.
I'm probably not getting that. Hello, PlayStation, you've won me back. Moving on to my favorite moment, and this isn't going to be a surprise to either one of you, but in 2015, June of 2015, I was living with Dan. We were in our apartment, and Dan mentioned to me, hey, the PlayStation conference is about to start. And I think that was the first E3 I actually paid attention to. But you were watching it live in the living room, and you mentioned to me, like, I heard rumblings that Final Fantasy VII was going to be there. And I'm like, bull crap. That is not true. That's not happening. It's never happening. They did the tech demo. They got me. So we're watching it.
I thought this happened at
This
work.
happened. No, this happened in our living room in Framingham.
Oh, okay. I thought it
So-
happened. I showed you at work.
No. So it was our living room in Framingham, and we were watching it, and this green line went across the screen. Either that or I was living with James at the time, but I'm pretty sure pretty sure you were there with me. And I saw this green line across the screen, and he's like, "We have something very special for you." And I'm like, "Well, that kind of looks like the live stream, but no, I'm not buying it yet." Then the music started, and you saw all these like little like CG, just pre-rendered kind of like landscapes. And then like the third one in was this like random ass slide from the slums of Midgard that I just knew, it was like burned in my brain. That's the slide that Eris and Cloud sit on. That's the one that's in all of those like I know this, I know that slide. It's oh my god, it's happening. It's Final Fantasy VII. But wait, maybe it's just some dumb movie or anything like that. And then at the end it goes just like mic drop remake. And I flipped out. The whole internet flipped out. 3 years later, we're just now starting to see the spoils because they kind of had to restart production on it, but it's still alive, and I was so excited, and that's the most excited I've ever been. It's probably my most exciting video game moment. That and Fallout 4 is up there too, but I know at the time I wasn't as big of a Fallout fan as to where like if I was as into Fallout Now, like if I was into Fallout back then as much as I am now, it would have been even that much more exciting. But because I was such a huge Final Fantasy VII fan, my favorite game, the game that got me into like JRPGs,
Yeah, that was
like,
sick.
that's a big deal. So that was my favorite moment.
That was sick.
Well, like I already kind of mentioned, Fallout 4, the announcement and the official thing was.
Oh, was that your favorite moment?
Yeah, that's why it was 76 was the worst, and
that's
Fallout
funny.
4 was my
Same for me.
favorite. So, I was gonna say, go ahead, Matt.
Sure. Yeah, I actually thought I was worried I was going to take yours. So mine goes all the way back to the year 2000. Let's all go back to the year 2000 with the Metal Gear Solid 2 trailer. That
The first person FPS.
the first trailer for MGS2 that was reeled at E3 2000. It was like a 9-10 minute trailer, and it kind of like blew everyone's socks off, and it just got everyone super pumped and excited for this game. So this was coming off of like the PlayStation I had. I when I first saw the first Metal Gear Solid, I didn't even think it looked good. I thought it looked kind of gray and boring. And then I played it. I was kind of blown away, and I fell in love with it. I fell in love with the characters, the insane story. And then, like, everyone was excited about this new Metal Gear. What are they going to show? What are they going to do? And Hideo Kojima, crazy Hideo, comes back with this, crazy long trailer that's super exciting. That has like this amazing new soundtrack from
That I didn't play
That,
Metal
like,
Gear
just
Solid
gets
2
your
yet,
blood
but that
pumping.
soundtrack, I've been listening to that soundtrack for 2 decades. It's a great soundtrack.
Yeah,
I love
it
that
is. It
soundtrack.
was insane. So you watch this video and it just keeps getting more and more intense. You're like, oh my god, you can do all these crazy things. Like you could shoot, like this was back in 2000 where you could shoot fruit and the watermelon would fall in half, and then you could shoot bags and like the flour would pop out of the bags, and just like you could put people in lockers. And it was just kind of this next level of stealth game that you could do. And then, as the music got more intense, you would see characters like Revolver Ocelot from the first game. And then you would hear, in the background near the end, you'd hear Liquid Snake's voice. So you just like, it just got everyone hyped to the 10th level. And it was just, I don't know, it was sick. And it ended up being one of my favorite games of that generation too. So awesome.
I have never been more serious about the fact that is all the time we have for today.
That was a long one.
That was a long
We had a lot of
show.
important things
I'm
to say.
wondering how many people we lost along the ride.
Not a one.
But all I care about is that download. So I mean, if they skipped out, like that's the only metric I have to base the podcast on. So if they skipped out halfway through, I'm not going to know.
There are dozens of them, Andy.
Use
Dozens.
this thing as a coaster for all I care.
Oh, Jesus.
No, there was the Aqua Teen, the movie soundtrack, had these like little sound bites in the middle. Like, you can skip the next track or listen to it. I don't care. Use this thing as a damn coaster for all I care. I already got your money.
Little side note on the Aqua Teen movie and whatever, the band that you were making a joke about for
Is that
Rage
the band
2,
that did the candy thing?
The Party.
Oh, the Party. That was the same band?
That's the same band.
I love that song.
So,
We need to end this podcast. Stop it.
All right, yeah, go ahead.
So, thanks for listening, everybody. I hope you enjoyed what you heard. Remember, you can tweet at us at Manabar Podcast on Twitter, and you can also email us at the Manabar, just manabarpodcast at gmail.com. We're always willing to take comments, suggestions. If there's anything in particular you'd like to hear us talk about, or questions you have, or things
Or recommendations.
or recommendations for games, please let us know. You can email or tweet at us. Also, I'm going to be trying to do this weekly going forward, but we'll see. But you can catch episode 0 of A Link Between Zeldas out now on the podcast. It's a special series I'm doing on kind of my journey through playing all of the Legend of Zelda games, as well as kind of my take on the philosophies of the games and what connects them. With that, boys, where can everybody find you?
You can find me on Matt Talks Games on Twitter and Twitch.
You can find me, Dan, at Game Review Guy on Twitter.
And you can find me at Hiley and Andy on the Twitter.
Cool.
And with that, this is the Trophy Hunter, the Collector, and the Bargain Bin Gamer logging off.